mistake was, who did he see when he heard I was there? Now it seems that he should.
All right, everybody, welcome out to the Logrum Guys Craft Beer Show. It is Tuesday, August the 6th, 2024. Jersey Johnny coming at you. And with me, as always, is none other Mr. Beer Samurai. Say hello, Mr. Samurai.
Hey, folks. How we doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you doing today? I don't know if they can answer you. They can actually. They can.
They can do comment.
Comment in. Yeah, they can do that. What are you eating there, sir? Or drinking, or both?
I've got a root beer float.
So you are eating and drinking.
Yes, I'm doing both.
That's pretty good. So, happy National Root Beer Float Day.
Yes, that's why I'm doing this. I did in my Snyder Weiss class.
Very nice. Did you put a little Snyder Weiss in it? Is it Snyder Weiss root beer?
No. This is a pure. It's and I used the Stewart's root beer.
Oh, there you go.
One of my favorites.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Got to get that good oversized Stewart's mug, get it frozen, and then make the root beer float in that.
If you have one.
If you have one.
I don't have one.
I don't either. I used to.
It's a pile of silica.
Puddle
of silica.
Something like that. So how are you on this fine evening, sir?
Well, I didn't have to go out in the storms like you did.
Yeah, it was a little wet at points. So, but
yeah, so it's
still, try now.
I think it's
close.
I think it's still coming down over here.
Oh no, it's. I mean, I've been in for a little while, so I dry it off.
Oh, so you dry it off?
It's not dry out. It's still very wet out.
Yes, it's
I'm dry.
It's quite damp.
It's damp. Moist.
We try not to use that word. We don't want to we don't want to upset a particular anybody
that doesn't like the word moist.
Any demographics.
I gotcha.
Exactly. Let's go with that.
It's a word. Duncan Hines used it all the time and made a living at it.
Yes, they did.
All right.
We were talking about cake.
Or were we? I was. You might not have been. Anyway. All right. I'm thirsty.
We've lost focus.
We've lost focus. and guests watching the show too.
Yes. Bye. Nice seeing you.
Anyway. I'm thirsty. Let's bring our guest on.
Let's do that.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show Lee Dickson from Strangers Brewing. Lee, how are you, sir?
There he is.
Good. How are you guys?
We are good. How you doing?
We're doing well.
We just asked you that.
Yeah, we have a lot of rain here in Pittsburgh as well.
Oh, it's crazy.
You sent it to us, I think.
Yeah. Well, that's the way it moves,
from west to east. Yes.
Yeah. If a storm came off of the Atlantic across Jersey and went out to Pittsburgh, I'd start to worry.
Yeah.
It's not the first bad. It's not the first bad deal that Pittsburgh's ever sent us.
I bet
they sent us Bobby Bonilla, didn't they?
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Is that Mets? Are you guys Mets?
Yeah, we're Mets fans.
Oh, yeah, well, then we did send you Bobby Bonilla.
There you go.
That was funny.
Deal. That was
when I was in Pittsburgh. It was actually Bobby Bonilla Day, and the guy at the desk, because we were wearing Mets gear because we came out for a game.
Right.
He wished us a happy Bobby Bonilla Day.
Happy Bobby Bonilla Day. Yeah. Happy Bobby Bonilla Day. Yeah.
I always get texts from my friends on that day as well.
Yeah.
These contracts they're signing now, there's going to be a lot of Bobby Bonillas in 30 years.
Oh, please. Let's put it this way. There already are a bunch of them. Yeah. Bobby Bonilla is making the least amount of money of any of them, and that's the only one they focus on.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, he was the first.
He was the first. He actually wasn't the first. He was the first of notoriety.
Well, because he was getting paid all that money by a team he wasn't even playing for.
Right.
That's why he's getting them. That's why it's Bobby Bonilla Day.
Of course. So, but in any event, I digress. I would have honestly. If talking about Bobby Bonilla, I just gotta say one thing. I still remember. Do you remember Lee? Obviously, I'm sure you don't remember this, but Dave, you remember Scott and Todd Pettengill and Scott Shannon on WPLJ in the morning show, right?
Yeah.
Todd Pettengill used to do song parodies, right? So back in '93, the Mets lost 100 games in '93, right? So Sorry, I brought that up again.
Only 93.
Oh yeah, just 93. Yeah. They've done it before, but 93 was when, in particular for this conversation. He did a song. You know that I will walk 100 miles, right? He did. Well, the Mets will lose 100 games, and next year, yes, 100 more.
Yeah.
But the funnier one was he did a parody of West Side Story. He says, "Bonia, I just dropped the ball like Bonia."
Oh, jeez.
So, it was pretty good, I thought.
So it was on the splash screen. So if people were reading the splash screen, they know. But Lee, you work where now?
Strange Roots Brewery.
This place.
Yeah, we've been around for 13, 14 years. We used to be Dry Log, which is DRAAILAAG, 2 words. And Dennis, our owner, changed the name probably 7-8 years ago to Strange Roots.
Gotcha.
Mainly so we didn't have to explain to people what we could talk about the beer and not the name.
Gotcha. Because people came in, ordered a beer, and talked about nothing but the name for a half an hour, 45 minutes, or an hour, and then left. Right.
Exactly.
So, well, I would be remiss if I didn't say Dry Log.
Yeah, so previously Dry Log, now Strange Roots Brewing. We're still we're based out of Gibsonia, PA's the production facility, and we have a couple of tasting rooms, one in Millvale,
right,
and one in New Kensington.
Mm-hmm.
And we also make a lot of the house beers for a local pizza place here. So that's pretty much how we get our beer around town, and sell the majority of our beer through the tap room.
Nice, very cool. I haven't been there, obviously, by the production facility, but I've been to the tap room in Millvale.
Right.
So
that's where Lee and I met.
There you go.
While we're
Yeah,
out there.
and that used to be the brewery. That room where the tap room is, that used to be the brewery. And he started out as Dennis, our owner and head brewer. He started the brewery as a open mixed fermentation, basically open fermentation brewery. So we were making wild beers and stuff only, and then we opened a clean brewery, and started making lagers and IPAs and stuff probably 5 years into the process. But
Gotcha.
He's a tinkerer, so we started with a lot of homemade equipment stuff, and then in the evening, him and Jacqueline would open the tap room, and they'd wheel all the equipment to the back, and then open the tap room, and so that's kind of the origins of the brewery. And we still use a lot of the same Western Pennsylvania terroir yeast that we were using then. We still have the same barrel collection, and a lot of that yeast and stuff lives in those barrels. So a lot of our beers come from emptying the barrels and topping them back up, and adding different fruit variations or foraging different products using local Western Pennsylvania ingredients and things. So that's kind of who we are. We do make a lot of different styles of beers, like most breweries do now, to please the masses. We really only make one IPA at a time because we kind of are in an area where people make a ton of fantastic IPAs. And so we kind of stick with what we do, which is
sure.
Our roots are, in Belgian style beers and, open fermentation beers.
Very nice.
Well, speaking of, what are you drinking tonight, Lee?
Yeah, let's do that, because I'm curious.
Yeah, tonight I wanted to kind of go a little bit old school and go back to one of my favorite breweries, East End Brewing. I'm sure you guys have had their beers before. Scott's been around for, since the early 2000s. And he makes a really interesting line of beers, which is the neighborhood beers. So I think there's around 50 or, low 50s neighborhoods inside Pittsburgh. And over the course of the last few years, he's been making specialty beers for each neighborhood and releases them.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so this one is Lower Lawrenceville, where I am right now, and it's right along the banks of the Allegheny River there in the triangle, but on the Allegheny side. And the style beer is it's dry hop saison. So
Very nice.
That's cool.
and I figured since I'm doing East End, I might as well throw in a Church Brew Works glass too.
There you go.
It's cool.
That makes sense.
Too bad I don't have a Penn Brewery coaster or something.
There you go. Actually, should thinking about that. I should have wore my Pittsburgh Fire Department T-shirt, which is from it's the firehouse that's kind of almost right in between where Trace and Church Brew Works are. If you're coming up the one road from
on Liberty Avenue.
Liberty Avenue, yeah, that one. Yeah.
Out of the city, you're going to pass the old brewery, which is right before Church Brew Works on the left. You're going to pass the old Iron City Brewery, which
Yep.
When I was a kid, that's where you would go to the tap room and go look at all the beer cans and all the breweryana and stuff at the brewery.
There you go.
But now, as you guys probably know, they have moved the brewery. It's still in Pittsburgh area. I'm not quite sure the exact town. I forget, but Pittsburgh Brewing is alive and well.
Oh yes, it is. That's for sure.
Oh,
Got a couple comments here. Oh, sorry. Well, you know what? Before the comments, Dave, Samurai, what are you drinking?
Oh, well, I am drinking something I bought at the brewery.
There you
This is Relic.
Relic.
Now, Lee, I read something that, and I want to see if this is true or not. This was brewed with yeast that was collected from a cabinet from a monastery in Belgium.
Yeah, it's like Dennis found a like 17th century monastery cabinet. Not quite sure the origin of where he found it, but the actual piece of furniture is still at the brewery, and they do still use it occasionally. But yeah, it's just a beautiful piece of furniture that he got the yeast from probably 10 years ago or 10 years ago or so, and propagated the yeast. I'm sure he probably grew it out like in a petri dish or something and kept removing the bad yeast and found the beneficial brewer yeast, brewer geek stuff, which I'm mainly a salesperson, so don't judge with about that. But
No, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's
so
a
that's
true
the long-
story.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he definitely was able to use the yeast, and that's kind of where our Belgian brewing origins, that kind of is pays tribute to that.
Nice.
You're in Lower Lawrenceville, but speaking of Lawrenceville, I'm drinking it out of my Coven Brewing glass.
Oh, nice.
That's the shirt I'm wearing too. Coven Brewing.
One of my favorite breweries.
Oh, they were fantastic. We were there on July the 4th, and Trevor's outside cooking up hot dogs for everybody inside.
Oh yeah, yeah. They do a fantastic job, and they I love saisons and farmhouse ales, and in addition to all the fantastic IPAs and stuff they make, they do a knockout job with the saisons, and so yeah. Cheers to them. They got a great staff there too.
Absolutely.
This beer is lovely. This beer is absolutely. I love this. This is amazing.
Yeah, we're super proud of that beer. We have a few of our brewers, George and Pete and Lance. They do a lot of really cool and creative stuff in the brewery, and they have a lot of ability. Dennis allows them to really have a lot of freedom to do creative stuff. I have a beer that I'm going to drink with you guys in a little bit here, and it's from our Forage series, where we forage different ingredients around the brewery, like dandelion, sumac, and mulberry, and things like that.
I had this sumac while I was there. That was a special beer.
Yeah. So I enjoy those type of beers. So it's kind of why I've been involved with the brand for so long.
Nice.
John, what are you drinking?
I was waiting for that because I want to take a sip. I am drinking from Cross Strain Brewing. All right, it's in Nebraska, actually.
Nebraska. Is this a Tavor beer?
La Vista, Nebraska. No, I went there last week.
No, you did.
Yes, it's a Tavor beer. They're premium pills. It's It's a Czech style Pilsner. So
Very popular style right now.
very popular style. So cheers, gents.
Cheers.
There you go.
Cheers.
That's pretty. That's pretty tasty. I like that. Got a couple comments before we continue really quick. Nancy Sorrentino said, "Hi, gentlemen.
Hey, Aunt Nan.
Hello.
How you doing, Nancy?" And Edward Meyer said, "Finally got to 5 Dimes. Had me some Coastal Brew Works. Delicious. Thank you, Ed. Appreciate it. You should have let me know when you were going. I would have met you over there."
Yeah, Eddie's an old co-worker of mine.
Yeah, sure.
Eddie had the smarts to retire.
Yeah, well,
And so now what he pretty much does most of his time is what you see in that picture there. He climbs rocks.
climbs rocks.
You know why he climbs them?
Because they're there.
Exactly.
Yep. All right. All right. Back to beer. Lee, let's rewind a bit. Hold on one second. Brian Boak. Good evening. Having fun picking beers on Tavor. Have about 6 in the cart and 2 on order. Very nice. Very nice. Good job, Brian. That's awesome. Yeah, Tavor, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love them. And we'll talk to Brian in 3 weeks from tonight. Brian will be on the show.
Who?
Brian Boak. It's our annual tailgate show.
Sounds like we do this almost every year.
I think we do, as a matter of
Oh,
fact.
that's why they call it annual.
That's why it's annual. Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So, Lee, let's rewind back to the first question we normally ask guests, but we'll go back to it now. To the best of your recollection, what was the first craft beer you ever had?
Probably Yingling Porter, maybe, if you could. I would say for me, probably Yingling Porter.
Okay.
First beer I had that actually wasn't a mass-produced, American adjunct lager.
Sure.
Of course, where you keep in mind where I grew up, there were so many beers here because of Pittsburgh Brewing Company and the brewery history here, that it was mainly American, macro lagers. But thinking back, that was I was trying to think about that, and I would say it was probably Yingling Porter, probably when I was an early teen.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Good beer.
That is,
without a doubt, Iron City was my first beer I ever had. My parents put a case out for the garbage men, and I snuck out and stole it and hid it in the woods until New Year's Eve. And I drank it. So,
there you go.
I think it's isn't the law in Pittsburgh that your first beer has to be an icy?
I would say so, yeah. Unless you were stealing beer from your uncles, and it could have been, Schaefer or
Schaefer. I guess
Schaefer, Rheingold, Schlitz.
Yeah, anything that was less than $7 a case,
So be careful who you're stealing your beer from. That's the more.
I had to put that picture up. There you go.
There you are with an Iron City.
Me at PNC Park with an Iron City beer. There you go.
I had already had an icy light earlier in that trip, so I was drinking Fathead.
Oh yeah,
while I was in the park.
Fathead, they still make one of the best IPAs.
That's what I was drinking, actually. Oh man, that was good. I bought one of the big ones, and I had a lot of trouble climbing the stairs to get back out of the stadium after the Pirates shellacked the Mets.
They don't let you buy small beers anymore.
Yeah,
I don't know how I feel about that. That's not necessarily a bad thing, is it?
Pretty big, yeah, exactly. So, quick other question: do you remember what the first brewery you ever visited? It doesn't matter what craft or non-macro. It doesn't matter. Do you remember?
I would say Penn Brewery, the craft, the micro brewery that's been around about 30 years or something. That was probably the first time I saw brewing equipment. Gotcha. Learned about lagering caves and whatnot.
I hear you can drink in their lagering caves.
Yeah, it's actually a really old brewery called Eberhardt and Ober, I think, was the name of the brewery way back in the day, and the caves were where they actually lagered the beer. I think you can still do tours at Penn and go back there. It's really cool.
Well, they did that too at Yingling too. They have the caves at Yingling too.
But you can't drink in the caves.
You can't drink in the caves. So.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to. The cave's actually still like pretty much everywhere you walk through the cave. there's water dripping off of the.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so you don't want to take a beer down there.
Yeah.
Probably not.
There'll be a lot of
Yeah, I would say
mineralized water that'll be dripping in it. So,
Hey, if it's gypsum though,
true,
it could be good.
it could be.
Who knows?
Exactly. All right. So, all right. What? All right. You've done sales for Strange Roots. You're working the tap room for Strange Roots. What got you into, or what made you decide to, whenever it was, get into craft beer as a career or a job, whatever you want to call it, whatever. You know?
Yeah, so I was living in Atlanta in after college, around the Olympics, and my girlfriend at the time got into Pitt. So this was around '99. I moved back to Pittsburgh from Atlanta, and couldn't find a job in the machine tool business. And there was a bar called the Sharp Edge Beer Emporium, a Belgian beer bar here in Pittsburgh. They had, probably 5, 6 locations at one time. They always had a sign in the window hiring, and my friend lived right near there. So I would tell my girlfriend I was looking for a job every day, and I'd be hanging out at my buddy's house, and then we would go to Sharp Edge and drink beers and stuff. And one day I just said, I want to work here. And the owner happened to be behind the bar that day, and he said to me, "What's your favorite beer?" And I said, "Rogue Shakespeare Stout." And he said, "Have you ever had it on cask?" I said, "What's cask?" And walked over, and he poured me a little taster of it, and of course, because I was determined to work there after that. So that was '99. I worked there from '99 to '06. Mm-hmm. And fell in love with Belgian beer during that time. And then my girlfriend graduated school and wanted to move back to Atlanta. So at that time, I was really into Beer Advocate and Rate Beer, like a lot of guys my age were, especially Beer Advocate for me. But I just kind of tried to seek out a job in Atlanta that was similar to what I was interested in, the Belgian beer. And I found the Brick Store Pub, which is still there today in Decatur, Georgia. And the alcohol law in Georgia had just changed around '06,
mm-hmm.
'05. So I found myself moving back there to work at a great bar, which had a Belgian beer bar in it as well. Right after the law changed, Chimay and St. Bernardus, everything was new. So it was exciting, presenting, learning about bringing things from the Sharp Edge in Pittsburgh to Atlanta, knowledge about glassware and the knowledge of styles and things it was fun. And so I went to the Brick Store Pub, and I was a server there for a few months. And then I became the first beer manager there. That was in about, '06, '07. And I stayed there for about 7 years. And we built a big beer cellar while I was there. It was really an exciting time to be in Atlanta and being in beer, because the law had just changed, and everybody was really getting into beer. So yeah, I worked there. And then from there, I went to work for Boulevard Brewery in Kansas City. Mm-hmm. I was the Georgia and Alabama rep, and spent a lot of time in Florida as well.
There you go.
So worked in a team with Southeastern team selling Boulevard. And then Boulevard, was purchased by Duvel Morcat. And so then I worked for Duvel USA. That was really awesome because I got to sell Ommegang and Leafman, Schoof, Meridsu, and so many great, beers and breweries. Got to go to all those breweries. We acquired Firestone Walker while I was working for Duvel, so that was a lot of fun, learning about those products. And I was still in Atlanta at this time, and then a friend of mine at the time, he started a startup distributor. So I helped him with a startup distributor where we acquired a bunch of Southeastern breweries and we also acquired the Shelton Brother portfolio.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, yeah.
So I was involved with a lot of the Shelton Brother brands, the great European brands that they had as well that I, come to know, of course, Drie Fontein and Freigeist and, a whole bunch of different breweries through that. Had a lot of opportunity to travel the Southeast at that point because we were trying to recruit breweries. Some of our workhorse breweries, of course, were Burial from Asheville and Green Bench and Trim Tab from Birmingham. Those were, some of our best brands that we sold there.
Oh, Green Bench out of St. Petersburg, right?
Yes, exactly. And
Love them.
they make some fantastic beers, and Sunshine City IPA is still that's still one of the best beers that you can get in Atlanta. I can promise you that when it comes to IPAs.
Nice. Very nice.
So yeah, and then from there during the pandemic, I moved home to Pittsburgh to be closer to my family and everything, and here we are. But when I was in Atlanta, we sold Dry Log and Strange Roots, and that's how I'm connected to the brand still. So I've been involved
the brand made it down to Georgia, did it?
Yeah, and
awesome.
we also sold Voodoo. So when you're a small distributor, it has a lot to do with your contacts and what breweries you can actually get and what's relevant to the market that you're selling in.
Sure.
So for us, a lot of people connected to especially Florida breweries. So we had a lot of Tampa area breweries because Atlanta was a huge cigar city, Hunapoo days type of town where you'd go there and there'd be 50 beer geeks that you knew. We really kind of zeroed in on a lot those.
And David and I resemble that remark, but
yeah. Well, not only that, what's interesting is the first Strange Roots beer I ever had was at Hunapoo Day.
Oh, cool.
I had a couple at Hunapoo Day before I ever made it to Pittsburgh.
Nice. I missed that festival. That was one I went to almost every year, if not all 10 years or whatever, however many years it lasted. Did you ever run into Bob Lorber? Did you know Bob Lorber? Yeah, I know him. We used to brew the collaboration beer.
So you know this?
Yeah. We would brew a big collaboration beer at Saint Somewhere every year.
Oh, the what do they call it? The not
bring
the takeover.
Yeah. We would bring something from Atlanta and throw in some Krispy Kreme donuts or some Waffle House waffles or Chick-fil-A or something.
It was called Occupy.
Yeah, there you go.
They called it Occupy.
Yeah. Yeah, I know Bob pretty well. I hadn't seen him in a while, so hey, Bob.
I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna take a picture of the screen and text it to Bob. Go like, hey, look who I'm talking to.
There you go.
See what he thinks.
Gotta love it.
It's been a while since I've talked to Lorber myself. So
he spent a lot of time in Georgia, obviously. So does he know Brew Guru?
Oh, John Starodumsky. Do you know him?
Yes, I think so. Is he a brewer now? Is he a brewer?
No. He's a writer. He has a blog, Honest Craft Beer Reviews. He used to write for Yankee Clipper News, Beer News, Brew News, right? Yankee Brew News. He's originally from Rhode Island, but he lives in Canton, Georgia, and he's big craft beer guy. I mean, he's been on the show about 8 times.
But I'm almost positive. Yes, I know exactly.
Yeah, there's no way you were in Georgia that long and didn't run into him at some point.
Sure.
Yeah, you would have.
And I remember I used to pick those, the Yankee Brew News up all the time. And my friend Owen Ogletree was one of the editors for Southern Brew News. Like it's a regional mag, right? That was a regional paper.
Mm-hmm.
So I would love traveling and going to different places and picking up the different magazines.
There he is.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
That's Starodumsky.
There you go. So, but
Yeah, so that's pretty much the long and short of it. It's been, I've been involved with craft beer since '99, I guess. So I love it. Still love it. Still love working in the tap room. I also work at a bar right by like a dive bar called Cousins in Millvale, which is a lot of fun. And still enjoy talking to people about beer. It's one of the reasons I love always working on Saturday afternoons at the brewery is you get an opportunity to chat about beer and meet people who are traveling or coming through town or in
Sure.
the game or
Hey,
100%.
I resembled that remark when I was at the
Exactly.
brewery.
sure.
Right.
Yeah, I've had some great great conversations lately with some people. I saw a guy with a little journal, and I was like, "Are you still doing rate beer reviews?" And he's the third. I forget his name, but 13,000 reviews on rate beer. Still
Whoa.
13,000 reviews on Rate Beer. Wow.
And I remember my friend KP down in Atlanta when he did 10,000. This was probably 10 years ago. He was the number one reviewer in the U.S. And now this guy was telling me there's guys with 35,000 reviews on Rate Beer now.
That's a lot of words.
It's a lot of words, a lot of beer.
Exactly.
Damn.
I do love the dedication, and I love occasionally running into those types of beer geeks. Too.
The Uber nerds.
Yes, exactly.
My cousin used to be involved in Rate Beer a lot back in the day. The one that we were that was commenting and didn't actually come on the show about Spite and Dival.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a big Rate Beer guy.
Yeah, I saw that on your website that Spite and Dival was closing.
Yeah, that was a shame.
Yeah, that's awful. But
yeah, so my cousin Adam was mentioned in the first sentence of that article and the last sentence. So, but yeah, times have changed. That's for sure. Yes, I mean times have changed in the beer industry, but times have changed just in general because that bar could still be thriving. And it was just for a lack of the landlord and what they wanted out of their property. That's but I mean you take an institution that's been a faithful tenant for over 20 years and say goodbye.
Oh yeah. That's a
shame.
common theme it seems like in craft beer right now, and I personally have some friends who have been affected by that same thing. In Atlanta, for example, Orpheus Brewing, their brewery was right on Piedmont Park, and once that magical 10-year lease agreement comes up, or however long, whatever that first lease is, people look at you and how popular they think you are, or they look at your social media and people lined up for your barrel-aged stout, but they don't understand necessarily how much it costs to keep these places running and how much that hurts you whenever the rent doubles or, it's impossible to continue to do business, which is unfortunate.
It is.
Well, you brought up barrel-aged stout at a very good time because I just opened my second bottle.
Why don't you tell us what it is?
The Curse.
The Curse.
This is another one I got while I was there.
So you have the Curse?
I have the Curse.
So you're a 13-year-old girl?
And I hear but I hear this Curse is actually a good thing, right, ladies?
Yes, it is a good thing. It's a high ABV stout.
Yeah, I want to sleep well tonight, I think. So if Nancy's still watching, she's going to make me get her a bottle of this because she loves her high ABV stouts.
Well, I'll be in. I don't know if there's going to be any left, but I'll be in Pittsburgh the end of October for
we may be joining you. We don't know.
Yeah, for the Giants Steelers game. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Maybe we could do for old time's sake a beer swap.
Sure, we can do that.
Absolutely.
I might know where to get you some Jersey beers.
All right. I'll tell you, listening to your podcast and looking at your website and stuff, By the way, you guys do a fantastic job, and kudos to
Thank
you
you,
for
sir.
the longevity and for being involved in covering craft beer as long as you have. But basically, when I was looking, I thought, I don't know shit about New Jersey beer, or even
Neither do we, so that's okay.
A little bit.
But yeah, there was
And maybe a little bit.
I did learn a little bit from some of the past episodes from you guys. So yeah, I'm looking forward to trying some more beers from them. So hopefully we can get together when you come in town for the Giants.
Oh,
Absolutely.
we can definitely bring you some Jersey beer.
We'll mark that down. Definitely, we'll get you some.
Yeah, and you know, we're both in Jersey, so our guest list tends to be Jersey heavy. But we love it when we can have guests from out of state, even out of country. We've had a few guests out of country as well,
Yep.
and have a lot of fun because Johnny does a lot of traveling. I do a lot of traveling, and like a lot of people who are craft beer nerds that travel, we pretty much center our travel around where the breweries are.
100%.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing I want to know is where are the breweries.
I've done the same thing. I still remember probably probably in the early 2000s, one of my friends talking up Durank Double Bitter so much that I drove to a Premier Gourmet in Buffalo just to get that beer. And when I got there, they had bottles of West Veteran. And I opened one in the parking lot and drank it warm right out of the bottle.
Oh my God.
That's insane. I definitely got to get to Belgium and get there.
Yeah, no, that's yeah. All right. Well, that's one trip you're not doing without me. All right. So.
Well, if you can't, if I commit and you don't, then I'm doing it without you.
Well, you're not doing it next year, so we got time to figure it out. So
You don't know that yet because guess
what?
what?
You've already mentioned where you're going next year.
No, I'm actually not now.
Okay. Are you taking it back? Are you going to change it on the fly right now because of what I just said?
No. I told you where I was going on the domestic trip. I didn't tell you where the international trip is.
Oh, I see how it works. All right.
Yeah. So.
Anyway, my second beer, it's another Pilsner.
Is this another half?
No. But you see
it's a Pizza Boy?
It's a pizza. No, it's not Pizza Boy. See the pizza slices on the can?
I do. It must be an Italian Pilsner.
It's Bradley Brew Projects, Vic's Restaurant, Vic's Tap Room.
Okay.
There you go. Had to have this one. My third beer is a Jersey beer. My first beer was a Pilsner, so this bridges the gap. And I was just at Vic's last Wednesday night, and I get to Vic's every now and then, but you sit at the bar, you have a good pie, you have a good salad. Is it the best Italian restaurant in the world? Of course not.
What's a salad?
What's a salad? All right. You've never eaten a salad? I mean, come on.
Do I look like I eat salad?
And I get a bowl of pasta fazool too, okay?
There you go.
There you go. All right.
Do they make good salad beers? Does anybody make a good salad?
I know one brewery made a tomato salad beer.
Oh yes, Panzanella. That was Carton made Panzanella.
Carton made Panzanella, yeah.
Well, if you want someone to make a salad beer, the first people I would suggest talking to would be Martin House, because they'll do anything strange.
I'm shocked. I wouldn't be shocked to find out that they did a cell phone beer. You know,
we decided.
Is that from wrangling yeast from a cell phone?
Now there you go. That's exactly what they're going to do now. We just wrote the recipe for them.
Hey, his brewery there. He wrangled yeast off of what'd you say it was, an 18th century, 13th century cabinet?
17th
century
somewhere.
But
I knew it was.
If anybody out there has access to a 13th century, we'd love to make one with that.
There you go. And there's been beer made with yeast wrangled from. Well, no, we'll leave that alone. No,
well, people's beards.
Beards, yes, beards.
Right, because that was Rogue did beards.
Right.
Beards, yeah, beards. And why stop there, though? Right.
What's that?
Why stop there?
Yeah. Why stop there?
Oh no, they didn't. I'm not going to talk about that one.
We won't talk. Well, you know what? We can, because it was a thing, right?
It was.
They did a beer that they harvested yeast. They harvested vaginal yeast.
It's been done.
It's been done.
Why?
I believe it was a glitter beer too. I believe it was. They put edible glitter in the beer. So, either that or it was they didn't have a choice, but they had to use it because it was part of the harvesting. I have no idea, but
It's very possible.
it's very possible. And we're not joking here. This was actually a beer. This was a beer. That's why we brought it up. We're not saying it tongue in cheek. No pun intended.
I remember it was around the time that that Brew Dog and that other German brewery were trying to get the highest alcohol beer. Everyone was trying the craziest thing.
Yep.
Oh, my favorite part about that.
The bull testicle beer, the Rocky Mountain Oyster Stout, that was at the time.
John's had it.
I've had it. Yes, I've had it.
The thing
I had it at Wynkoop. At Wynkoop in Denver, I had Rocky Mountain Oyster Stout. So.
It seems like that was a April Fool's thing every year.
Nope, it's a thing.
I gotta be honest with you. Once you get past what makes it as velvety as it is, it's actually a very good beer.
Yes.
Well, that whole thing about
it's all about the mouthfeel.
Yes, yeah.
Just swish them around. No, what I loved about that the ABV battle between Germany and Scotland, because it was BrewDog, and who were they up against?
I don't think anybody's ever had those beers, but we all read about them.
Oh, I've had one of them.
Oh,
I've had Tactical Nuclear Penguin.
I've had Tactical Nuclear Penguin.
No, I meant the other brewery.
Yeah,
the other brewery. Oh no. No. What was the other?
It wasn't Santa Claus. They originally BrewDog did it to beat Santa Claus, but then a German brewery then beat them, and then
Eggenberg was Santa Claus.
Yes. Right. So, but I'm not. Maybe it was them. And it's funny because
I don't think it was, but it went up to like almost.
No, and Eggenberg is Austria. Eggenberg is Austria.
Oh, that's right. That's right. But I remember that the guys at BrewDog, when they asked about it, they said, no, we're not intentionally trying to beat the Germans. And the very next beer that came out was called Sink the Bismarck.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've had that actually. When we were in, I was on one of those European beer trips, and when we went, I did the Camera Cask Ale tour. After 2 or 3 days of drinking milds and bitters, like you're like ready for anything above 2% alcohol.
Right.
So those BrewDog pubs were a savior. And we did the Tactical Nuclear Penguin, the Sink the Bismarck, and whatever the squirrel. We did the squirrel one.
Oh, End of the World beer.
Yeah,
and end of the world. Yeah. Or end of days or end of the world.
Days.
Yeah. They put up half the money so they could keep the squirrel, and the rest of us, whatever. But at the time, we were probably paid €200 for one bottle or something, but we were willing to put in 25 each.
So, for the listeners who don't know what we're talking about, the End of Days or End of World beer, and when you talk about the squirrel, what BrewDog did is they made this very, very limited run of this beer that was at 32% alcohol, I believe.
Yep.
And they packaged it. They put taxidermy, roadkill.
It's roadkill
around the bottles. And there were squirrels. There was ermine. There was all matter of flattened animals reinvigorated into bottles.
Schorschbrau was Schorschbrau.
Yeah,
it's the brew in Germany. Yeah.
If you guys can bring me a bottle of Schorschbrau for the Giants game,
yeah.
Well, we won't remember the game if we tailgate with that.
Well, here's the thing. BrewDog actually did do a collab with them after all of that nonsense back and forth, and they decided to join forces. And I was looking it up, just making sure I got the name of the brewery right. It's called Strength in Numbers, and it's the highest ABV beer that anybody's ever done that they did. And it's an ice bock, of course, because that's the only beer you can make, right? That's that high. It's 57.8% alcohol.
Oh boy.
Okay, so it's 115.6 proof. Right.
That's nuts.
So it's higher in alcohol than a bottled and bond whiskey. Bottled and bond, right.
That's higher than my Maker's Mark over there.
Right. And
tequila right over there.
But because they had to do so much of it and yielded so little of it because they had to get that alcohol that high. It came in 1.5 ounce bottles.
Wow.
All right. I have 2 of them left. I do have 2 of them. So
Wow, really?
yeah.
That might just be enough to make me come to Jersey this winter.
Oh man, yeah, that's gotta be safe for a tailgate,
Get a
right,
1
Johnny?
ounce pour.
What's that? Yeah,
That's
we got to
the
say that for a
1 ounce pour.
tailgate. Well, I'll bring one to the tailgate, Brian. All right, but
We gotta pick a home game. This year.
we'll definitely do a home game. But here's the thing, Brian. There's only 1.5 ounces of it, so one of the bottles, it has to just be the 3 of us.
Yeah.
Because everybody will get like dip your finger in and lick it. That's about all we're gonna.
Bring a dropper.
Right, yeah, an eyedropper.
Stick your tongue out.
There
Hey, as long as I can tick it.
you go. There you go.
Nice.
So are you a Steelers fan, Lee?
Yeah, I've been a Steelers fan my whole life. Growing up here, when I was 8, 9 years old, was 79 when we won the World Series. And the Super Bowl. So
Nice.
it was
Yeah, well,
hard
that's.
to
I was
anywhere
actually,
else there.
I was actually going to say that before. Like in the early '90s, you sent us Bonilla. You could have gone back about 12 years and sent us Kent Colve. That would have been better.
Oh, the rubber band man.
Still one of the best deliveries ever. What a fun person watch pitch.
And I love that the stadium would play Rubber Band Man when he came out to the mound.
Yeah,
Just the
exactly.
way he pitched. I was actually, as a kid, I was a huge Steelers fan.
Yeah.
And then, if you remember, when Bradshaw retired, pretty much there he is in the stadium.
Uh-huh.
When Bradshaw retired, pretty much almost that whole team retired at the same time.
Yeah, everybody's done.
In a year. So the Steelers
4 Super Bowls in 6 years done.
Yeah. So the Steelers that I grew up knowing and loving were no longer. I didn't recognize any of the guys anymore. Only Stallworth was left after a while.
Right.
And so I decided to become, let me pick a home team. I picked the Giants, so I rooted for the Giants. But my number 2 team to this day is still the Steelers.
Sure. So for clarification, anybody that did see that last picture I put up, first of all, I'm Jersey Johnny for 2 reasons. 1,
You're from Jersey.
2, I collect and own way too many jerseys.
You've got more sports jerseys than I've got Hawaiian shirts, and that's a problem. John.
I've got, probably a lot more. Yeah, but yeah, definitely. I'm a football fan. I'm a baseball fan. I'm a Mets fan first. I'm a Giants fan first. And then my next is I'm a football fan or I'm a baseball fan, right? So there's only one professional sports team that I actually hate. All right. And it's primarily because of the ownership. All right. And that is the Dallas Cowboys. And that is it.
I think we can agree on that.
Yeah, definitely.
I actually own 31. I actually own jerseys for 31 of the 32 football teams. I'll give you 3 guesses as to which one I don't own a jersey for.
Cowboys.
Exactly.
Jets.
But anyway, no, I own Jets. I don't hate any local team,
He lives with the Jets fans.
and I live with a Jets fan.
He's got to be careful what he says
Yeah,
here.
so. But on that note, I'm
Once a
glad you brought it.
Tebow fan, always a Tebow fan, right?
I'm glad you brought it up though, because that picture I just showed you of me in my James Harrison jersey at I'm sorry, it's not Acrisure, it's Heinz Field. Screw Acrisure.
It'll always be
Heinz
Heinz
Field.
Field.
All right.
I like saying Acrisure because it pisses people off.
There you go. But we were out there for the Jets Steelers game, and we're out there with another couple, and they're both Jets fans. So it was the 3 of them wearing their Jets gear, and I was wearing my Steelers gear. So there you go. Now, when we go out there for the Giants Steelers game, I will be wearing my Giants gear. Jess has already told me she will be wearing my Steelers gear for that game. So
There you go. Hey, we're nice here. We don't pick on any out of
Oh
town.
no! I've seen the Mets play the Pirates so many times at PNC. Wearing my Mets gear, it's great. I love it out there.
I'll tell you, when I saw see the Pirates and Mets, the guy sitting behind me, and John could attest this. So I was posting up pictures. Him and I were having a great time. He was a Pirates fan. I was a Mets fan. Even before the Pirates start to destroy the Mets, we were getting along great. So,
Lee, do you remember 2 or 3 years ago? It was in July. Mets were out in Pittsburgh, and they the Mets were actually winning the game. Like they were up by like many runs, and then the Pirates came back. The Mets bullpen blew it. The Pirates scored like 8 runs in the last 2 innings and beat the Mets. I was
sounds like a rare occasion. I probably wouldn't.
I was there at the game. So,
Hey, I can trump that. I was at the game this year where the stadium ran out of fireworks because the Pirates launched too many home runs against our pitching.
Oh wow!
Do you remember that?
These are strange times.
These are strange times.
Here we go. Here's the over my shoulder. There's the Pittsburgh fan. There's me feeling very, very good.
Wearing a Bucks what's the hat? The bucket hat.
The bucket hat. You mean this hat?
Yeah, that one there.
That one right there. It's got the, it's got the big old. You can turn it around. It's got the big old P in there.
Go Bucks.
Go. You've got P on your hat.
Yeah, I got P on my hat.
You got
P on mine.
There you go.
There
mine's in there with mine's in there with my
You're spit it out. Spit it out.
There we go. Roberto Clemente jersey. Thank you.
They named the bridge after him.
They did. They did. Or did they
You're
name him
almost
after
not
the
a
bridge?
Pittsburgh boy. If you grew up in Pittsburgh and you don't have a Clemente jersey,
I know.
something wrong with you.
Yeah.
He was the man.
I got a Clemente jersey and a
Stargell
jersey.
Yeah, Stargell was.
I almost had a Kentacove jersey too, and it was somebody had it up randomly in Jersey on Facebook Marketplace in pristine condition, still had tags on it, and it wanted like $20 for it. I says, I'm on my way, boom, I get it, and by the time I literally hit send, I was leaving to go get it. He wrote back, somebody just picked it up.
Wow.
Damn.
I got to get my other beer.
Alrighty then.
Go get your other beer. I'll vamp for a moment. There you
Yes, I'll vogue.
go. You vogue, I'll vamp. There you go. Anyway, yeah. Speaking of Tavor, I'll mention this. I feel I'm sure Brian's still watching. I feel like a glutton. Brian has 6 beers in his crate and 2 on the way.
You're up to 35.
I have 26 beers in my current crate, and I've extended the crate out 4 times so far.
I've got 8 in my crate right now, but I had to extend because otherwise it would have been delivered while I was in Seattle.
Well, you know what I'm doing? I'm extending it. Here's the thing. I'm extending it because I have a crate that I'm still drinking down, and I don't want this crate until that one's gone. But what happens is you add more, right? So
Can you see this?
I know, and that's yours, and there's mine there too. So
Oh yeah, well that flat right there, that's Johnny's. However, the beer that's in the wrap, the beer that's in the wrap there, that's a strange roots beer.
Mm-hmm.
So
which I was supposed to hook up with you before tonight to get it so I could have it on the show.
I tried to get this to Johnny. Yeah, and it just never coalesced. So
it didn't coalesce, but I'll have it and I will rate it and I will put a little blurb up. It'll be an addenda to this
addendum.
No, addenda.
Addenda, singular addendum.
Singular addenda. Yeah.
So Lee, I got him the stout that's got the maple in it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh.
Yeah, maple's one of his favorite things.
Exactly. From YouTube, Massive Beers on YouTube. Dry Log always has a special place in my heart. Dennis is one of the bestest dudes I've ever met in the industry. Mount Rushmore of awesomeness. There you go.
Nice. Thanks for the kind words, man.
Thanks, Massiveness.
I'll pass that along to him.
Thanks, Massive Beers. Awesome.
And now we do have to ask, what did dry log mean?
I think it's like a Belgian brewing term. I might need to Google it myself,
Let's see. Let's Google it while
you do it. Yeah, you do it. You do it, Dave. You do it.
Dry log.
So while you're doing that, I'll tell you about the beer I just.
Yeah, do that. Yeah, Lee, what are you drinking?
So a brewery right by us, which was one of my favorites, is Grist House. I don't know if you guys have had a lot of their beers.
No, not at all.
I've got a shirt in the closet, actually.
Yeah,
the same shirt I have in my closet.
Same color too.
And probably my desert island style, would be wheat beer or, Weiss beer. But I love American wheat beers as well because I worked for Boulevard, of course.
There you go.
People don't believe it.
Tank 7's a good beer.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
Tank 7, but some people, and even when I worked for Boulevard, people didn't believe it. But unfiltered wheat to this day is still one of my favorite beers.
Oh, it's a beautiful beer.
Yeah.
Absolutely love that beer, and it changed beer in the Midwest. Like Kansas City, it was such a monument beer. And, so I always chase those beers when I go to breweries. If I see an American wheat beer on the tap list, I always go for it. So this one's Grist House. It's called Wheaton for the Weekend.
Wheaton for the weekend.
Nice.
I don't think I've ever had that one. That's awesome.
I've never had that. Cheers. And I looked it up. Actually, dry log actually means turncoat. And it was named after Mill Vale patriot Simon Girty.
Yeah, Simon Girty. Okay,
Simon
so
Girty.
Simon Girty, Dennis's aunt, she's a Girty. So she's a direct descendant of
Simon Girty. Oh,
and
wow.
that's the connection to dry log and Aunt Barb or Barbara, I believe is her name. She passed away this year. So we just had a big mural on the side of the building that has a quote from her.
Oh, I saw that.
She's one of the final, the last descendants of the Girty family. So, yeah, thanks for Googling that. And I feel ashamed for not knowing that.
For not remembering.
Yeah.
I
was going to say,
I may have a picture of that.
look it up. I was going to ask.
Mural.
I was going to ask Lee. I was going to tell Lee. I love Grist House beers. They're definitely, anytime I go to, there's a handful of breweries that I have to get to every time I go to Pittsburgh. Stranger It's just one of them, and that's not smoke. I do get there, but Grist House is also another one of them. And Trace
Might
is
as well if you're there.
Trace is that's right there, right? I know it. Trace is another one, but in any event, my favorite, and I do love a lot of the Grist House beers. My favorite is London Crawling.
Yes.
The mild is fantastic.
When I was at Grist House, they had one lager on tap. That was it, and I need to get back because I was really quite disappointed because when I got there, it really looked like Grist House was an IPA kettle sour house.
Yeah.
And I know they're more than that, and so I was really quite disappointed.
Yeah, they were probably trying to move through some ingredients.
Yeah, it was just timing. It was timing on my part. I get that because I've heard too many great things about them. When I get back to Pittsburgh, definitely coming to see you guys. And if I'm going to be there, I might as well go to Grist House. They're just up the road and down the corner.
Yep, exactly. Fantastic beer. There's so much good liquid in Pittsburgh, and
these guys, man, they're doing some good stuff.
I mean, it's amazing. It really is, and I definitely got it. And when we're out there in October, definitely got to see Hootie at Blowfish Barbecue.
Oh yeah, Hootie. He's an old friend. When he used to be, when I worked at Sharp Edge in the late 90s, early 2000s, he was the beer manager at D's hot dog shop, Suds and Dogs or whatever it was called. But he built an amazing cellar and is one of the, original Pittsburgh beer guys that,
Really?
he's a great guy. And he makes fantastic barbecue.
Oh, please! So his brisket is some of the best brisket that I've ever had. I take a picture of Hootie. There you go.
I'll tell you why he does such a great job. He spends the winter in Texas every year.
There you go.
Oh,
And he apprentices, or what is it called? Stages under barbecue chefs or pit masters there.
Pitmasters, yeah.
And he brings his knowledge back to Pittsburgh every summer, and then he applies that to his barbecue and all of the. He changes the menu every year. So
we talked about having him on the show. His brisket was so good, right? But
Well, what's interesting is
I
He
had
knows
I
more
like
about-
the first time I ever had his brisket. I had a full order brisket. I just had a bite. Because she had a bite and I didn't get to finish it, I got a second order brisket. By the way, I would have gotten the second order anyway.
but you were talking about he goes to Texas, and earlier on we were talking about my travels this coming year in 2025.
Yep.
In April, I'm going to Austin. Why am I going to Austin? 2 reasons. Jester King, Texas barbecue.
Texas barbecue.
Because Austin's the capital of Texas barbecue.
Well, I'll be in. I don't have any plans to get to Texas before this, but in late April, early May of 2027, I'll be in San Antonio.
There you go.
There.
And San Antonio's only about an hour and a half south of Austin.
I'll say Jester King, Jeffrey Stuffings. That's one of the nicest guys I've met in the beer industry in all of my time. He is a fantastic guy.
Who do we have on the show, John?
Debbie Serta.
Debbie Serta. So Debbie Serta is what's her? She's the head of the Pink Boot Society.
She's the. I think she's either VP or the secretary of the National Pink Boot Society chapter. The whole the whole Pink Boot Society thing.
National, yeah.
National, yeah.
And she works at Jester King.
And she works at Jester King. Yeah.
I forget what her role is there.
A tap room, something in the tap room. She's tours or tap room or something.
Yeah, I got to reach out to her before I go out.
She's not brewing or anything. She's not brewing or anything. She's just at the brewery.
But yeah, I got to reach out to her before we go out there. See if we can do the show from there.
That would be great. That would be great. I saw her out in Minneapolis a couple of years ago.
Yeah?
After we had her on the show, I saw her out in Minneapolis. But
very cool.
Yeah,
Very cool.
1 or 2 of the functions for CBC, but that was fun.
Do you guys still go to CBC and stuff every year?
Yeah, we try. We did. We wanted to go to Vegas this year. We were in Nashville last year. It was fantastic. We made it like a 10 or a 12-day thing. We actually drove to Nashville just to take our time at breweries along the way to Nashville, and then we stopped in Richmond and Asheville, then Knoxville, and then got up to Nashville. Then coming back, we went to Louisville for some bourbon because after beer for that long, you need some brown liquor, right? And then we went to Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, and we were in Pittsburgh and then home. Yeah, this year we couldn't get out to Vegas. We were opening a new tap room. There was no way we were going to be able to get out to Vegas. Next year is Indianapolis. I can't go there because it starts the day my younger daughter's getting married. So I'm a little tied up.
That wouldn't be a good look.
Not so much.
Good, no,
Daddy's got to go, honey. I got to think.
Daddy's sick.
Yeah, Daddy's got an illness for sure.
Right. And then the year after that, 2026 is in Philadelphia. So yeah, we're going to that, but we're driving to that. Right. So,
Oh yeah, maybe I'll try to come to that one. It's been quite a few years since I went to CBC.
Yeah,
I've
I
never,
love CBC.
I've never been because I'm just a podcaster, not necessarily an industry.
Podcasters go to CBC too.
So maybe when it hits Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, I'll go.
There you go. And then again, 2027, they already announced it's in San Antonio, so I'll be down there.
Oh God, yeah,
Definitely
got to get to that. That'll be a lot of fun.
One of these years, they'll get it back to Denver. You know, you would think the Brewers Association would want to have it in Denver as often as possible, right?
I still have yet to get to Denver.
Oh yeah, you got to get out there.
You got to get out there.
Gotta go. So
Falling
anyway,
Rock.
Gone.
Falling Rock. I noticed here in the signs when I moved back to Pennsylvania, they have signs that say Fallen Rock, not Falling
Not
Rock.
Falling Rock. Right?
I was thinking, let's open an East Coast, like an homage
Falling
to
Rock.
Falling Rock called
Called what?
Fallen Rock.
Oh, called Fallen Rock. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not a bad idea. I like that idea. You've been to Denver often?
Not many times, but yes. A few
Okay.
times.
Just
For
down
beer.
just down on the same street going towards Coors Field from where Falling Rock was. There was a bar. It was about a block and a half away from Coors Field. And it's gone now. It's called El Chapultepec.
Okay.
Dive bar, some of the best jazz in the city, and they had shaker pints of top shelf gin and tonics for $5.
Nice.
John hates his gin and tonic.
I hate my gin and tonics. Yeah, the pandemic closed them. That sucked. But anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, it's hard to sell drinks for what you're paying for them and still keep the doors open.
And keep the doors open. Yeah, exactly. All right. But before we go to the top threes, I got to ask you your top three Pittsburgh breweries, not including Strangers.
So to be fair, I like old man beers.
This is your list.
Yeah.
This is your list.
So
By the way, Dave and I do too.
Yeah.
So like probably have you guys heard of Golden Age?
Golden Age, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love Golden Age.
Yeah. Absolutely a fantastic brewery. Makes great, lagers, pilsners, a lot of different of those types of styles from different countries. It's not uncommon to see Australian pilsner or
That's awesome.
They have had that while I was there. Well,
Yeah.
when Carrie and I went to Golden Age, they were actually celebrating the deli that used to be there with that mystery sandwich.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And
I
also,
didn't make it over for that, but I know what
yeah,
you're talking
but we were there for that. And the other thing is, the owner was behind bar. He was wearing a Grays jersey.
Pittsburgh Grays, yeah.
Because where they were located is where the Grays Stadium was.
Sure.
They were in that town. So what I love about Golden Age is they honor the old style beers and the history of their town.
Love it. Love
And
every
I
minute.
love
Love
it.
every minute of it. Every minute of it.
You'll see more than one picture of Josh Gibson in that brewery.
Definitely more than one. Absolutely. And they had a jazz quartet going outside.
Yeah.
And it was just a good time, good beer, such a great feel when you see the community
Sure.
that comes there, because it's just such a great mix of people.
100%.
It is the epitome of a community brewery.
It's great. I love Golden Age.
Yeah, that's a great pick.
All right. So, that. And then I guess for the next two, it's going to be a combination of four. Grist House.
That works.
He's right in line with us, Dave.
Oh, yeah. I told him we do these things.
It's pretty easy, though, out for me. Grist House, Cinderlands, Trace, Coven.
Done. Yeah.
They're all in my neighborhood.
Kind of right there with you.
Yeah.
I can walk to all of them. They make the types of beers I love, as well as explore every style under the sun.
Oh yeah.
And they make what they know they do well. They do really well, and they continue to make that. And I always appreciate that about breweries.
The Fooder Age Schwartz beer at Trace is amazing.
I've got to get back to Trace. I love
the Keller beer. The Fooder Age Keller beer is my favorite.
Fooder Age Keller beer is amazing too.
You guys are killing me, because I was there for 4th of July. Trace only had about 8 taps open. So It was they were very thin on their selection. So, and a lot of them were IPAs. And I was like, people have told me how great this brewery is. And
there was me and Lee called everybody up and said, Dave's going to Pittsburgh. Just make IPAs.
Shut it down. So between Grist House and Trace, I feel that I was robbed. This is like
what you should have done. See, what you should have done is you should have went to Dancing Gnome, because it would have been the opposite. They would have had no IPAs.
No. They were happy. No, but John, this was Navari Res Part 2. We'll fill you in on that later.
Right. Fantastic bar.
Yeah, not when I was there. But Trace and Grist House were disappointing to me, and everyone said so many great things about it that I feel I need to get back to Pittsburgh. I need to get back when these breweries are in their stride, when they've got the great stuff out. But the one thing I will echo what you said. This place here, Coven Brewing, like I said, Trevor. What had happened was, it was 4th of July. Trevor had booked Trevor had booked a food truck. The food truck backed out the day before.
Right.
He posted this up. He's outside. He's got his hair up. He's looking like an orc from Lord of the Rings with all that hair and the big back ponytail. He's got like this mesh white shirt on, kind of like Sean Astin from 50 First Dates. and he's grilling hot dogs. We met him before we even went to the brewery because we parked down the road and walked up. And he said, "Well, our food truck had, I can't let my customers go hungry." But the best part about it was the local people who knew about this. They brought in food as well.
Yeah.
For everybody else. So talk about another community brewery.
Absolutely. That's great. It was like a big barbecue. Everybody brings something, that kind of thing.
Yeah. They ran down to the Eagle.
Ran down the Eagle. There you go.
That's awesome.
Love it. I got to throw this one up really quick. Rick Toby chimed in. Another Pennsylvania sports team fan in Rick Toby, but
Eagles guy.
Just the other side of the state.
Yeah, the wrong side of the
state. There you go.
Not if you're side.
Yeah, there you go. Not if you're Rick Toby. It's not the right side. But anyway, we're teasing Rick. We're teasing Rick. He knows we're teasing. Yeah. His three are Brew Gentleman, Dancing Gnome, Hitchhiker.
I didn't get the Brew Gentleman.
Brew Gentleman is in. Oh geez, not Homestead.
Yeah,
Homestead. Voodoo's in Homestead, but it's right near there. But they're right there. Do they still do? Yeah. Yeah. Do they still have the pop up in the Allegheny Overlook?
They're in Braddock.
They're in Braddock. Braddock. Yeah.
I did just remember one thing. My friend just opened a brewery called New France Brewing, and they opened a brewery with two other breweries. One is Bonafide, and the other I can't think of.
The other one is named after the town that it's in.
Yeah, it's in Hazelwood Brewing.
Yeah, it's Hazelwood Brewing, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. But that is a really cool spot. That's like my, I guess, that would be my recommendation is for anybody coming to town who wants to check out like a new spot. Those are brand new, and it's in a really cool area that's up and coming with a lot of new and cool stuff. And it still has that old Pittsburgh feel because it's in the shadow of an old mill that they kept the smokestack turned into a museum and all that. So definitely a cool visit. And that's again my friend Tom at New France. So also,
where is it? It's where it's not in Pittsburgh. It's outside Pittsburgh.
It's in Hazelwood.
It's in Hazelwood, right?
I mean, I can ride my bike there from here.
It's basically almost across the river and a little west of where Golden Age is.
Exactly. You go up the Monongahela from like the south side and Anyways.
So really it's heading towards Homestead and Braddock that way. Yeah.
Yeah. And just like a lot of the other breweries here, they're in these old nostalgic, like these crazy buildings from the early 1900s, and this one was a brewery in 1904 or something like that.
Yeah, so. There's even a plaque there. From what I hear. We were gonna go there, but I think I ran out of liver enzymes.
Yeah,
at one point.
Dave, you ran out of liver enzymes in 2004, I think.
Possible.
Damn you, barrel-aged stouts.
Yeah.
Oh, I love my barrel-aged stouts. I love it. This was quite lovely, by the way, and it's amazing the play between the cherries, the cacao, and the apple brandy barrel.
Right.
It's strange. It almost gave like a cinnamon flavor with all this combined. It's really hard to explain. I don't know if there's like some malic acid from the apple brandy still in there that kind of interacted with everything.
Maybe.
But
it's not a bad thing. That's a good thing, actually.
No, that's a great thing. But yeah, it gave off. It's like my first sip was like that's, and it's not even like the normal cinnamon that we're used to. It's more like that the Vietnamese cinnamon, that more spicy cinnamon than because we in the U.S. we know kasha. Kasha is a sweeter cinnamon. That's the stuff that you get in your cinnamon rolls. The baking cinnamon, but there's other cinnamons out there, and most Americans don't.
That's the cinnamon they put in the Cinnabons with the
and anybody who eats just the outside and throws the center of a Cinnabon away,
go away.
They need to be jailed for that. But this is more like that spicier cinnamon. This was different to me, and I really enjoyed it because it was different. Because Lee. You know this as well because you've been in this for a long time. You're always looking for something different, right?
Oh yeah.
always something you haven't had. And this is something I haven't had before. This was something special. I like that.
Nice. Very nice.
And if somebody out there is doing a drinking game with the word cinnamon, they're pretty drunk, right?
I said, how many times did I say cinnamon? I think it was 7 or 8 times.
37 sips I just recorded.
Get them going.
There you go.
But I do have to echo what Rick Toby said. Hitchhiker.
Yeah.
Hitchhiker is a really cool hang because it's one of those gritty breweries.
Yeah, Hitchhiker's a cool hang.
That too.
Well, let me ask Lee, let me ask you a question. The old Dancing Gnome space or the new Dancing Gnome space?
Well, the new one.
The new one's gorgeous.
Easily the new one, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why.
Why?
Because the only really old man beer they had back in the day was a Pilsner, and it was too hoppy for me. And it's because they had a smaller brewery, and now they.
So it's what it's what they're able to brew with the new space. That's why it's.
So like the alt beer, the Kolsch, the.
Yes, no, you're right on that.
But if they could have the.
Or things like that, or what.
Beers aside, the space. What do you like better?
Yeah. The new one.
So,
I think it's an amazing spot. Yeah.
no, you're right. I mean, normally anybody asks me that question, and if it's a brewery that I frequented a lot, I usually lean towards the elder version of it. Just nostalgia, the quaintness, what the history in my mind of it, and the experiences that I had there. But I do have to tell you, yeah, you're right. The way they built that new brewery, it's fantastic. It's really a gorgeous space.
And them and Hitchhiker, they make kick-ass beers.
I
mean, the only reason they're not on my list is because I already have explained it about the styles I like.
Sure, of course.
So it explains, the
other Dancing Gnomes IPAs are fantastic.
World class. Yeah. We're really lucky to have them here, and anyone who comes into town, of course, that's one of the spots that I take them.
They're Märzen too. I mean, I've had it a couple of times. They're Dancing Gnomes Oktoberfest Märzen. It's a really good beer.
So do I have time to grab my third beer right before?
Go have your third. Dave's going to open his third. I'm pretty sure he's almost done.
I'm done. I'm getting ready with my third, and
I'm opening my third too.
And the whole thing about Dancing Gnome is, people watch the show know that I am over the IPAs. I don't seek out IPAs.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
But when you sit in when you're sitting at Dancing Gnome, you have to have the IPAs. That's what they're known for.
You got to embrace it.
They do it better, supposedly better than anybody else in Pittsburgh. They're the Pittsburgh IPA house. You have to drink the IPAs when you're there.
Mm-hmm.
So I started off with a Pilsner. But I did go.
I do that too. The first beer I ever had at Dancing Gnome was the hoppy Pilsner that Lee was talking about. All right, and the first beer I ever had at the new Dancing Gnome location was a Kolsch. So there you go.
And I think that was on while we were there.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite possible. I don't know if Carrie actually ordered that, but the first thing, actually, no, I lied. I didn't have it. I didn't have a Pilsner. I went straight up hoppy while I was there. So the first one,
you got to embrace it. You got to embrace it.
Well, the first one I had while I was there was the pale ale called Lustra. That I went to two IPAs. I went Gravel Grinder and Swinging at Strangers because I just love that name, Swinging at Strangers.
Swinging at Strangers.
And that was a great beer. I loved that one. So yeah, I embraced the hop. It was the only brewery that I was at in Pittsburgh where I went all hoppy. But it's Dancing Gnome. You got it.
You got it.
Speaking of hoppy, my third beer is, and it's funny because Lee and I texted back and forth a little bit before the show about the top threes, and Lee brought up a concept called river beer, right? Because he's like top 3 river beers. So in Pittsburgh, they're called river beers.
Mm-hmm.
In Jersey, we call them boat
beers. Right.
Boat beers. Yeah.
And this is Carton Boat Beer. Carton Boat Beer it was brewed to drink on a boat. So you can be out there in the boat. You know, it's the same thing as river beer, right? You're on a boat on the river. You're drinking. You don't want a high alcohol content. This is only 4.2%. And if you go on to Untapped on the web page, not the app, and you can see who the loyal drinkers are. I'm number one on this.
Nice.
I'm approaching in about less than 60 beers. I'll hit 1,000 check-ins on this beer.
Wow.
And you know why I've hit so many check-ins on this beer? You know why I'm the number one drinker of this beer?
Because you sit in bed and hit that you're drinking them all night when you're really not?
No.
Joking.
I'll tell you one thing. There's times where I've drank full liters of this beer and checked in it as one.
Mhm.
Oh, yes.
So I've been totally honest with my check-ins on this. But the reason I do
It's a brewery that's been around for 13 years, and he's been drinking the beer the entire time. That's why.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's also because
The
the owner of the brewery also told me I need to be the number one drinker, so he wasn't the number one drinker.
Can you say his name 3 times?
Nope.
You cannot.
I'm not. We can't say the owner's name 3 times, otherwise he pops up on the show like
Just-
Beetlejuice.
Like Beetlejuice, yeah. It's happened before. There's precedent. And there's another beer that you're the number one drinker of too, if memory serves.
Am I still the number one drinker?
You are still the number one drinker of it. Yeah.
Of building sandcastles. That would
That
be
one,
the
right.
green one right there. That is a
Yeah.
Coastal Brewworks beer.
There you go.
And I aim to be the number one drinker for Nautical Twilight, actually, because that's as much as I love building sandcastles. Nautical Twilight's my favorite.
There you go. And you still have to try Shooting Sea Star too.
I do. And
Have you had Shell Collector?
I have not had either of those two. So
Have you had
far-
Velociphile?
That
Yeah,
is-
no, that you had Velociphile, yeah.
And the first iteration of the Philosophile is my favorite IPA you guys make at this point.
There you go.
What do you open there, Lee?
What do you got, Lee?
Yeah, so I opened a Trace beer.
Oh, nice.
I actually opened 2 because they're the same style. 2 of the breweries I mentioned.
I have the one in your right hand. There you go. I have a
Yeah,
bottle of it.
these
I
are
have a bottle of
both
it. Downstairs.
fruited wild.
Yep.
Yeah, the fruited wild ales, and this is Cinderlands, and then this is Trace Brewing, which the first one that I opened from Trace.
Love the shape of that bottle. That's almost like the Italian breweries
Yeah.
bottle shape, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
I did a
Trace
little
is-
beer tour in Italy. That was it was one of the funnest trips I've ever taken. But anyways, this is a peach, like a peach fruited wild ale from Trace.
Oh God, love that.
Yeah, peach makes one of the best sour wild ale fruits,
It does.
in my opinion.
Peach is an amazing fruit to put in a sour wild.
Yeah.
Stone fruits, apricot, peach.
Yep.
Fantastic. But yeah, again, cheers to you guys.
Cheers.
Oh, cheers, Lee.
Cheers. I will. I'll tell you my beer really quick. I went with another Jersey beer. That's why I said the Bradley Brew Project Bridge the Gap there. It's Conclave beer, which
Oh,
I
love these
got
guys.
via Matt from their anniversary a couple weeks ago.
Oh, which one is this?
This is Shamanic Revelation.
Oh, they're IPA.
Mhm.
That's a new one for them.
It is a new one. Yes, I haven't had it before. So, and I put it in proper glassware for me.
That'd be Johnny's Brewery right there.
There you go.
Can't wait to try that.
You're gonna have to have some. I'll bring it out in October. Cheers, gents.
Cheers.
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 John and I both went hoppy.
There you go.
You're at 7%, though. I'm sitting at 4.2.
This is true. This is true. But I was gonna. I did have. I will tell you this. I was at the brewery a little while ago, and I did have a tank pour of a beer we brewed last Monday.
What'd you brew?
We brewed Rising Tide last Monday.
So that'll be that third can in that yellow one.
That would be this one right there, right there.
So Lee, fun story. In April, I went to Germany,
Okay.
and I booked the English tour for Weihenstephan.
Nice.
John said, if you're going to Weihenstephan, can you bring a can of my Freising Tide? Because it's a wheat beer. It's called Freising Tide.
It's a German Hefeweizen, right?
Yep.
And Freising is the name of the town that Weihenstephan is in.
Yeah.
So we pay homage by calling the beer Rising Tide, like Rising Tide, we're coastal, Rising Tide. Freising Tide. So play on words.
So it's like, okay, I'll bring them a can of it. And he's like, don't bring them a full can. I don't want them drinking this beer because I don't want to dishonor them by doing so. And also he'd be judged. And this is Vine Stefan. They've been at this for almost 1,000 years.
1554 or some shit, right?
No. 1040.
Oh yeah, sorry.
In 16 years,
Forgot
that
you,
brewery will be 1,000 years old. That brewery is older than England.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is insane. But what he wanted to do is bring an empty can, which I did, and have one of the employees there hold it up and take a picture of it. So this is our tour guide. The interesting thing is, even though this is the tour guide,
Stefan, there you go. Right there.
Yeah, this is the tour guide holding up a can of Freising Tide. That dude's not German. That dude is from College Park, Pennsylvania.
Well, it was an English tour, right? So.
He was there at the college. There's a college there that on there, and they're part of the campus actually. Their Braustable. So Braustable is just the rough translation would be brew pub.
Right.
Stefan's Braustable is technically one of the lecture halls at the college. So a lot of
you gotta have a brew pub for a lecture hall. You gotta love that, right?
Isn't that one of the like oldest brewing schools and stuff too? Like they have a lot of.
Yeah, no, you're right. It is. Yeah, it is.
Quick fun fact. That's my desert island beer, Vine Stefan Hefeweizen.
Vine Stefan is mine as well. I don't care if I walk into a brewery, if I walk into a tap room that has 200 beers on tap. If one of them is Vine Stefan or Hefeweizen, that's the first beer I'm ordering.
Yeah,
Lee.
When I was managing at the brick store, we were the #1 account in the United States for the 7 years I was there.
Love it.
Yeah, we sold over a 50-liter keg a day of that. So
Lee?
I'll never forget, my rep was like, "You've sold over 365." I was like, "What do you think the record is?" She was like, "I think it's like 400." And I was like, "Send them."
So Lee, how much of that did you drink yourself?
Every day I drank it. Yeah.
What you need to get to the
Never before 3, though. I promise. Never before 3.
3
a.m.
the next day,
a.m.
the following day. You need. Have you been to Vine Stefan?
I have not.
You've got to get there.
I've been to Germany 3 times, in Munich and never Vine Stefan though.
Well, the thing is, from in Munich, it is really not that long of a tray ride out to Freising,
right?
And then it's a walk. There's a walk up the hill to there. That's a little taxing, but there's a reward at the end of it. It's called beer.
Mm-hmm.
But the tour at the end of the tour, you come into that bar where that picture was taken, and then they give you samples of the beer. I believe it was 6 different bottles, 6 different beers, but the bottles for each table, there was 3 bottles per beer for each table.
Right. So like 500 mLs. Yeah.
Oh, God. So basically, and most of the people are like, yeah, okay, yeah, I'm done. So you can just sit there and keep pouring for yourself if you want. It was, that was so much fun. But the tour was just to be in the bowels of Vine Stefan.
Yeah.
Seeing the tanks. Anybody who's friends with me on Facebook, my profile, not the profile pic, but I forget what they call it. The cover picture.
Cover photo.
The cover photo. Those are the tanks at Vine Stefan that I have as that photo on Facebook right now. It's really an experience. If you get back to Munich, do yourself a favor. Get on the train. Get up to Freising. And take that tour. Be there. And the best meal I had in Germany, hands down, was at the brew pub. Yeah, that's the picture right there. That's their tanks.
Nice. I'd say the best beer bowels I've ever been in.
Nice steal.
Yeah. I'd say Rodenbach. It was
God,
unbelievable.
Love
unbelievable the cellars of Rodenbach. But Also, a Flanders Red is close to my heart.
Flemish
Flanders,
Red.
Flanders Red, Flemish Reds. They're. Well, I love them, and the woman downstairs makes me look like I hate them.
Oh,
Yeah.
she's a Duchess girl.
Duchess,
Big Duchess girl. Okay.
Cool.
Quick story: Atlantic City. Probably going back 13, 14 years ago. We're down there for a beer fest. Jess and I were with Dougie Edwards from Carton at the time.
Oh, I miss Dougie.
And a few other people were walking through the Trop after one of the sessions. We're walking through the Trop.
Oh, I've heard this story.
And in the middle of the casino, but we're going to a bar, right? But we've got to walk through the casino to get there. So we're walking through the casino, and there's this pop-up bar at the casino, and they're selling $5 bottles. They had Bud Light, Blue Moon, Heineken, Miller Lite, and Duchess de Bourgogne for $5. So we walk up and we ask him, how many bottles you have? He goes, 10. We threw a $50 bill down and took all 10 of them. See ya.
That was a smart move.
As much as I love Flemish Reds, there's one Flemish style that I like better than Flemish Reds.
That was below cost. That was below cost for those.
But Lee, can you guess?
Like a brand?
No, not brand. Style. One Flemish
Brune?
style.
Flemish Brune?
Bruins. The Oude Bruins.
Oude Bruins. Yeah.
That beautiful. You get the barrel. You get the wood. You can taste a little bit of that. The barrel. Which
Dave, you know anybody who likes brown ales?
John loves brown ales.
Oh, there you go. That's me. Right.
John likes brown ales better than I do. I think I love Oude Bruins better than John does.
I saw your review on the website. I'm going to really have to dig into that when I.
Check out that brown ale review that I did. Yeah, there's a lot of beers in that. You got to check it.
But the thing I love about Oude Bruins is they're just so much funk. It's almost like taking a beer, sitting in the basement, licking the floors of the basement, and drinking beer at the same time. It's just, and that's in a good way. It sounds awful, but in a very, very good way.
No, you meet it in the best way possible.
Best way possible. And I love Oude Bruins. I absolutely love Oude Bruins.
I love Oude Bruins too.
It's funny because
my old school favorite was Petrus. Was probably the
Petrus is a good beer.
I haven't had that in forever.
It's been a while.
I gotta see
the red and the Oude Bruin. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Oh, Castile Red's another. But
do you see what John did the other day? He's talking about Starodomsky, talking about Brew Guru.
What did he do?
He had a Castile cherry ale.
Yes, he did.
And then he left about a third of it in the glass, and he poured a Brooklyn black chocolate stout in it. So he made a chocolate cherry, and it was fantastic.
He's an animal. He's an animal. No, I love the Oude Bruins. Damn.
Why is it that your own beer blend is always the best beer you have?
Always
the best beer, no matter what. 'Cause you never do it early in the night. It's always later.
Oh yeah, where you've got the bravery. I was at a bar once called Cloverleaf, and
what bar is that?
Cloverleaf Tavern.
I've never heard of it.
You used to live right around the corner from it. But one of the bartenders there, Matt Sharingal.
Matt
and I love to mess around with the taps. We like to blend things. And
I enjoy that as well.
I came in. They had a founders takeover, and I look at the taps that they still had on, and they had I just blanked on the
CBS, KBS, and all that.
KBS. They had KBS on tap, but they also had Cerise on tap. And I looked at him. I said, "Have you blended KBS and Cerise yet?" And he looked at me and went, "No." He goes, "What ratio?" I go, "Try it. Start at half and half." We started half and half. It turned out to taste like a chocolate-covered bourbon-soaked cherry. And we brought the owner over, Ryan, poured one for him. He took one taste of it. He goes, "What are you calling it?" We told him what we were calling it. He goes, "Put it on the POS."
Nice.
Put this to POS, get it on the menu. He goes, this is amazing. Matt was also good at taking a couple of beers that may have been subpar, middling, whatever, blending them and turning them to something better. He had Harpoon's Raspberry UFO. Okay, middling beer. He mixed it with a Lining Kugel Summer Shandy. Okay. and turned into something that was better than some of its parts. It was a raspberry lemonade. It was so drinkable. It was delicious. we did a lot of what Augie would refer to, the owner of Carton Brewing, as fuckery.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a great time blending stuff from the taps. And I miss doing that. Matt's moved on. I don't know. Do you know where Matt is now, Johnny?
I do not know where Matt is now. I really don't.
I gotta ask him where he is. I know he's fishing. He's a big fisherman, but
Right.
I gotta figure out where he is. But what are you looking up there, John?
I'm looking for. I got it. There we go. Here we go.
What'd you find?
So, all right. So,
Anytime John's looking at his phone like that, he's searching through.
I'm not going to talk about the brewery, but there's a brewery I used to work for. Okay. And one night there was no one in there, and I was sitting there. I finished work, and I'm back at the tap room having a beer, and me and the bartender, literally only one's in there. It was a horrible rainy night, storms. No one's in the brewery. No one's coming out, and we're like, we're like you said, fuckery, right?
Yeah.
So we just start mixing beer, right?
Gotta love
Right.
it.
But we did layering. Okay. Layered. So there's a raspberry wheat ale with a stout on top of it. Okay.
I recognize those mugs, so I know what you're
you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I know.
Okay. And then we did for shits and giggles, we did our New England IPA with the stout on top. Well, we didn't care. We're like fucking around, right? But this one was the best though. The raspberry ale with the New England IPA on top. That was actually really good.
That was tasty.
It was really good.
The last one nearly made me throw up in my mouth.
No, we dumped it. We took a sip each and we dumped it out.
I'm pretty sure this is how seltzers were born.
Pretty much. It was later in the night. We were both exhausted. We're like, yeah, let's see what this will do. You know, that kind of.
You remember that McKellar single hop series they did? It's probably,
Yes.
Yes. Oh God, I love that series.
We did a tap takeover with all 20 of them. And that to this day has to be the best IPA I've ever had. It was all just a splash.
All 20,
Splash of all of them all the way.
Okay, so Lee,
Yeah.
this is if I can get it up there. This is Lorber's response. Say hey if it's not too late.
No.
So Bob said hey.
Great guy. Cheers, Bob.
Cheers, Bob.
Bob
And
Bob,
all the Tampa beer folks. Great people.
There you go.
and Bob the trivia king of the Tampa St. Pete area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you follow him on Instagram, he won't let you forget that.
No, not at all. I follow him and our friends on Facebook, and it's constantly
Get him up to Jersey because I'm hosting another trivia night on September 7th.
He's from Jersey, by the way.
Oh,
Get
wow.
him-
Shouldn't be hard, huh?
Well, is he in Jersey right now? Is my point.
No, he's not. And the fact that he's from Jersey and escaped Jersey, very little chance of getting him back here.
Well, that's my point. Get him up to Jersey. It's the weekend after Labor Day weekend. On September 7th this year, I'm hosting a trivia night. Won't say where. You know where. But I won't say where.
You have to bring his whole team. He's actually from Teaneck.
There you go. Bring him
And
up.
the weather will still be nice, so there's no reason not to come back.
There you
Exactly.
go.
All
There
right.
you
Plus,
go.
the food is way better, I'm sure. I've never been to Jersey, but
It's better than
I
Florida.
guarantee
There's
you
really, really, really good food in Jersey. There really is.
my kind of food. I don't even have to visit to know.
So, hey, let's do our top threes. I think it's time for our top threes. I
Let's get
feel
this
it.
going.
It's time for our top threes. All right, tonight's top three list. And, I'm going to say, I haven't said in a while. It's been a while. I've been remiss. I haven't said in a while.
While you go through this, I gotta tinkle.
Oh, my God.
This is why I'm not this way I don't tinkle during your top threes.
There you go. This is true. Oh, you go then. So
I thought we were supposed to leave a gallon jug here like World of Warcraft people.
after the show's over, we're going to tell you a little story, but we'll leave it alone. But anyway, Lee, I'll just tell you, we do a top three list for two reasons. One, when Dave and I first started this podcast 4 years ago,
Yeah.
the first 8 shows were guestless. It was just Dave and I, right? We were finding our footing, right? When we started the top three list, it was just Dave and I, and it was probably about halfway through that.
Sure.
So it was just the two of us. So we were paying homage to 1933. 33, 2 threes, my 3, his 3, the repeal prohibition. There you go. That's why we do the top 3 list. The other reason we do,
Don't
right?
forget about Rolling Rock.
Right, exactly. And Rolling Rock, yeah, the 33, right? The other reason is because the top 10 would just take too long because we usually have 5 or 6 for our top 3 anyway. So, right. So that's why we do a top 3. Tonight's top 3, while Dave still is busy in the loo, if you will. Tonight's top 3 list is top 3 pet peeves from our craft beer experiences. Top 3 pet peeves from our craft beer experiences.
Whew, good. I bet
Lee, kick us off. What are your top 3 pet peeves?
I would say number 1.
You're going 1, 2, 3, not 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, probably go number 1 is like lack of knowledge of styles and what you adventure. People like I feel like when I first got into beer, I would grab beer guides and style guides, and I'd want to try every, like you mentioned Sammy Claus earlier, and you mentioned all these different Belgian breweries, and we've mentioned German breweries, and it was about trying to chase and find an Oud Brewing or
Sure.
a nostalgic brand that made a classic style. And I feel like for reasons that we all know, people get set on the type of styles that they like, and it's kind of all they ask for nowadays. And their adventure is in that style category, not in beer itself. Like experience everything and drinking seasonally and all the other things that come with learning about all the styles. So that's probably my number 1 pet peeve, is just the lack of care when it comes to learning about beer in general when it comes to the style guidelines.
So you're probably as irritated as us when someone checks in a Guza into Untapped, gives it a 2.5 and said, "This is too sour for me."
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. And like I probably haven't been to Untapped since the first 6 months it came out. Because
Good for you. I'm proud of you for that.
Good for you. Good for you.
I'm pretty jaded. I mean, I'm a beer advocate guy. Admittedly, I don't go on there as much anymore, but
I use Untapped for myself. Not
Exactly.
for the game, not for the badges, not for anything, for myself to so I remember what I had, and literally only so that if I look to see if I wind up checking into something that I've had before, has it improved? Has my palate changed?
Right.
That's why.
I totally respect it, and I love the fact that people keep track of what they're drinking and stuff. I don't blame Untapped for people not caring about what styles they're drinking, but I do think it's easier to get caught up in
100%
chasing beers that aren't necessarily different beers and different styles from different parts of the world.
Sure.
People are caught in, trying to drink as many beers or the beers that they like, which is fine. But
not that I want to interrupt your list again, but I'll point this out. The thing that pisses me the most off about Untapped, and I just want to bring it back because it's relevant because we're talking about Untapped, and I don't want to forget it either, is the people that post a review, and I'm paraphrasing here, but you'll get the idea.
Right.
This is the best IPA I've ever had.
Sure.
I hate IPAs. 0.25.
Okay. Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now what you're doing is you're saying it's a great IPA, but you don't like IPAs. So you're giving it a 0.25 not because it's bad, because you don't like IPAs.
Right.
And you're lowering the rating of that brewery's beer that they've worked hard at.
Well, people don't think
Gave me
about
an idea. Maybe I'll get on Untapped and just review IPAs since I hate them.
There you go. I like that. Oh, poor dancing though.
They make great beers now, though. They
Yeah,
always have, but they make great. They do a great job across the board for all the stuff.
No, I'm just saying if you're going and you're going to rate IPAs just because you hate the style and you're going to lowball all of them,
They will get much more money from me for sure.
there's that. There is always that.
All right,
So what's your number two?
This might kids and dogs at breweries.
Okay.
I feel like you remember when they put smoking sections in restaurants when we were kids?
Yep.
And they separated everybody.
Mhm.
Sometimes I feel like breweries are just a place to babysit people's kids and dogs nowadays sometimes. And that can be frustrating. And I'm not saying that just from my experience over the past few years here or whatever. It's just, I don't know when it became that way, but if we didn't have parents and we didn't have kids and dogs, we'd probably all be out of business, just to be fair. Do you know what I mean? And I love the concept and all that. I just feel like sometimes I go to a place and I just want to be around a bunch of adults and talk about beer and whatnot. And it's just, I'm at a big, a family picnic or something. And,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
probably not going to be, people may not be the biggest fan of that comment, but it's just me. I'm personally, I love dogs. I love kids. But I also like drinking beers a little bit more without dogs and kids.
Fair enough.
So maybe a bit controversial, but
I got you.
It's what it is.
What's your number one?
Oh, that was number three. What's his number three?
That's number three. Yeah, number three. Yeah,
This is probably my number 1, 2, or number 3. You can flip flop any of these, really. But I would say the lack of really all my years in distribution and being a salesperson. Truly, the lack of there's just a misunderstanding from bar owners and brewery owners about the relationships between distributors and the bar and brewery owners. There's a bit of a disconnect where some brewery owners or some bar owners think, let me try to get as much as I can from these people without considering that they're a small business as well. And then there's just an overall misunderstanding about how expensive it is to transport beer, to transport ingredients, to purchase ingredients, to do can contracts, to do a micro star contract where you can't send back the barrels until you get 100. You know what I mean? So you're constantly letting people borrow money, waiting on checks to come back. And as a salesperson and as a person who is involved with a startup distributor and big distributors and managing distributors, there's a total misunderstanding and a underappreciation for what distributors do for people in the beer industry. And
you're speaking my language on this.
Yeah, Johnny was a
100%.
sales guy for a good portion of his beer career.
Right. So yeah, that's without getting into it too much, just being a salesperson.
Because
rating.
Well, to expand upon that, and you'll obviously, this is where you're going, right? Is there's a number, not all, there's a number, a good number of bar owners out there that are focused on, and have been, because that's the way they were brought up in the industry, focused on what they get from their distributors.
Sure.
And they shouldn't be getting anything from the distributors because it's technically,
It should be a partnership.
not so legal if they're getting things. But
you're talking payola.
Not even payola, just that the skirting the gray line of getting things, right? That's what they do, right? But that aside, they're used to, well, if I buy this many, how many do I get? Or can you give me a discount on this if I buy this? And what if I get this? And what can you do for me? What can you do for me? That's what their issue is.
What have you done for me lately?
Right. And what they don't understand is that works with Bud. that works with Miller, that works with Coors, that works with Heineken. That doesn't work with the local guy that's feeding his family based on what you buy from him.
And doesn't have a neon sign to give to you.
Right.
And working all day and then driving the 2 cases you ordered out to you on his
Right.
way to pick up his kid,
Exactly.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Exactly.
There is a
100%.
misunderstanding.
Right with you there. 100%.
I'm going to interrupt you guys briefly. Bob Lorber got back to me again and said, I missed that giant. Miss you too, brother.
Yeah, cheers.
So cool. All right. Samurai, you're 3.
I'm just
I'm sorry,
back.
you're 8.
I'm just replying back. Lee's cheers back to Bob.
Gotcha.
Anyway, so yeah, I've got a few. Lee touched on a little bit of them, but John knows this is probably my number 1 pet peeve in craft beer, and it's related to.
You're going 1, 2, 3, too.
I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. Since Lee did, I'm going to follow suit. My number 1 pet peeve is when you're in a festival, and you've got that guy. He's wearing a brewery shirt from like a very popular brewery that everybody knows. He's wearing a Heady Topper shirt. He's wearing another half shirt. He's wearing. This is a flex. This is a hey. I know beer. I've been to this place. I've been to this place. When I go to these festivals, I appreciate the people that are wearing the brewery shirts for small breweries that I've never heard of. And I love seeing that. I love seeing like a brewery from like the middle of nowhere that I've never heard of. And someone's wearing this because they're giving me awareness that this brewery exists, that this is something. But it also tells me something about the person.
Yep.
It tells me that they're actually seeking out these places. They're going.
You want validation.
They're traveling. They're seeking these places, or this is their hometown. This is their home brewery.
Yeah, they're so proud of their community that they want to wear the shirt from their hometown brewery.
Right. And I didn't mean what I said in a bad way. It's a good way.
Yeah, and I love that. Anybody can buy a freaking Heady Topper shirt and wear it to us. That's just a, like I said, it's a flex. And to me, and maybe I'm just being really friggin' snobby. Maybe I'm being too judgmental, but I sneer when I see these things.
Well, it's funny because your bio on the website says, "Drink what you want, let others drink what they want. Don't be a douche."
I still stand by that. Drink whatever you want, but when you come to a festival, it's like going to a concert wearing the T-shirt of the band you're going to see. Yeah, we get it. You like them.
It's a lot of things. It's wearing the T-shirt. It's going to a concert wearing the T-shirt of the band that you're going to see. But what's worse than that is, and I almost not agree with. I almost condone wearing a T-shirt of the band you're going to see, as long as it's not that tour's T-shirt.
Exactly. If it's
you didn't walk in, buy the T-shirt, and put it on, right? But it's the same thing. Like even running races, like Jess runs marathons. I run with her shorter runs, right? 5Ks, 10Ks, 10 milers, 5 milers. Whatchamacallit. You'll always get a shirt. Every run you do, you get a shirt.
Yeah.
The people that, and this obviously doesn't pertain to this list right now, but the people that actually show up, check in, get the shirt, and then put it on and run in it that day.
Yeah, that's one thing. But it's just.
But anyway,
I wait and go have brunch with mine.
Yeah, right.
There you go. But then also, like when you go to a brewery and someone comes in wearing the shirt of the brewery that they're in.
Yeah.
They don't work there. What are you wearing that for?
That's just fanboyism right there.
Right.
So those things, it's a pet peeve of mine.
It's like, where's the owner? Can I stick my tongue up his ass?
Yeah, exactly. So there's that. And now, yeah, there's been times where wearing the brewery shirt has, maybe gotten me something, but not at the brewery. Like this one time I went to a festival, I was wearing a Cane Brewing shirt, and I went up to the Cane booth, and they're like. And it was like one of the first shirts they'd ever produced. Mm-hmm. Like, oh my God, that's old school. Even Mike Cain doesn't have that shirt anymore. So they pulled a bottle out from underneath and said, "You need to pour this."
So there's times and places.
There's times and places,
right.
But so it irritates me when I go to a beer festival see a guy wearing heady topper, wearing like an other half shirt, all these really popular breweries that everyone. Okay, we get it. You're into beer.
I get it. Right.
Yeah. So that's a pet peeve of mine. Number two, it might actually be number one. You could even probably swap these. I hate it when you're in a brewery that is rocking. You've got a line. You've got a line to order beers, and a couple people come up. There's 4 of them, and they've all ordered flights.
They all get 6 tasters. Yeah.
Oh, because now you have tied up a couple of beer tenders. And flights to me are, again, there's a time and a place, right, John?
Mm-hmm.
Where the problem with taster flights is if it's a flight that's 5 or 6, by the time you get to 4, you can't. There's not enough liquid in a taster to wash out the liquid before it, so that you're actually accurately tasting that beer.
Right.
So especially a flight of 6, that's ridiculous. By the time you get to 5 and 6, you're not tasting that beer.
I know breweries that do flights of 8. That's insane.
That's insane. Sam Adams in Boston does that in Faneuil Hall. They do
Fegley's in Bethlehem does it.
They do it well. By the time you get to 4 or 5, you're not tasting the beer because there's not enough liquid in each glass to wash out the beer before it.
Right.
Now, John and I have talked about this, whereas if you can get a short pour of something, but it's only 1, okay, fine. And if you're in a brewery that's quiet, it's a slow day, first time there, you want to see what they're capable of. The flight is 4 tasters, and you don't want to drink a lot of alcohol because you're driving. I get that. But when you got a brewery...
I get it too, and I've done that. Yeah, but I get that.
As I have. But when you're in a brewery that's absolutely slammed, where there is a line 20 people deep, and you're ordering a flight...
Use your common sense. Common sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you were behind the bar, would you want to get your order?
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So that's a pet peeve of mine. Number 3, and it's a little bit of an echo with caveats what Lee was saying about children in breweries.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind children breweries. I love dogs in breweries because I just love petting the puppies. To go up to
Okay. This is a PG show, folks.
Not the puppies that you're thinking of, John. I'm talking about the doggies. I'm talking the furry things. Well, I guess they could be furry. But I do love. So Lee, I'm gonna respectfully disagree with you on the dogs thing.
Sure.
The children thing I fully get because you get those because you're always going to get that child that's unsupervised, where the parents have had so much beer that they don't even remember they have a child with them, and that child is just disrespecting the whole brewery. And yes, I'm one of those people that when that child's running around, smacks his head against the table because he's lost control. I'm going to laugh. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
We got a name for a new beer.
Yes. Smack your little friggin' child head on shit. But kids in breweries, like you said, if there is like a section where they're off to the side, because I do not ever want to rob parents of that experience of being at a brewery.
That's the problem. I love parents and stuff too, and I
don't want to rob them of that. But the one thing that pisses me off more than anything at a brewery is when I see you've got the parents, they're sitting at the bar and the kid's taking up a bar stool.
Yeah.
No, you have to be at a table. Do not take up a bar stool. The bar stools are for the people that want to talk to the beer tenders. They're the ones that are going to interact with the beer tenders. And the one thing these people don't understand is that beer tenders want to interact with their clientele. And they want to interact with clientele that knows something about beer. And
I never would have met you if you didn't sit at the bar and we have a conversation.
Exactly. That's my point. And that's why I love sitting at the bar, because you sit at the bar, you're going to have the attention of the beer tender. And the beer tender they're not going to want to interact with a 6-year-old. That kid knows, okay, that kid is probably just He probably just likes IPAs, right? That's it.
Those losers don't even know the 4 ingredients it takes to make beer. Just
It's love, sweat, tears, and blood, right?
No.
Barney, Scooby Doo, Bluey.
Bluey. Oh! So you're back to Australian pilsners now.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Anyway, all right. Well, Dave, I thank you for switching off of what we didn't say and mentioning my number 3 before you got to your number 3 while talking about your number 3, even though we talked about this beforehand, but I'll leave it at that.
What?
Never mind. There we go. But
please say number. I think you just said
again.
number 3 as many times as I said cinnamon.
Exactly. Tree number 1 is for number 2. Tree number 3 is for number 1. Don't go to tree number 4. That's the ladies' tree.
Stop saying number 1. I'm gonna have to leave.
Yeah. Anyway,
like I did earlier.
So I got one honorable mention, and I only had it because I mentioned it honorably while Lee was talking before. Is the Untapped reviews? I can't stand people that do what I said before, right? Just like I can't stand IPAs 0.25. All right, if you can't stand IPAs, don't rate the fucking beer. Just check into it if you want to play the game and say that you hate IPAs. Have at it. I couldn't care less.
Have enough maturity and knowledge to know that I don't like this style, but I appreciate the craft that went into it. I appreciate the way it was brewed, and rate it on that.
I've seen people rate just what I said. You know, I can't stand this IPA is amazing, but I don't like IPAs 0.25. And then you click on their profile, and they've rated Miller Lite a 5. Okay,
that's dry hopping.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Right.
Triple hopping.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's my honorable mention. But my number 3, I'll move that to my number 3, and I'll make, because of what Dave said, interchange them. It doesn't matter. Unattended children. Okay. Parents can be. I'm a parent. All of my kids are well over drinking age. All right. Whatchamacallit. But I get it. You want to go out to a brewery. You know, when my kids were young, there weren't a lot of breweries. All right.
Yeah.
So,
but you were teaching them about the styles and stuff.
Of course, every time, like, hey, my son-in-law works for me. Okay, so there you go. Right.
And before he worked for him, he was in the beer industry.
He was in the beer industry. I taught him well. Anyway.
Yeah, that's good parenting right there.
It's good parenting. It's good it's good in-law parenting. There you go. But in any event, no, I get it. Believe me, I totally get it. You're not going to get a babysitter to go out to a brewery. You take your kids. You can do that. That's fine. And it's fine. Obviously, you're coming into our brewery. Just pay attention to your kids. Don't ignore them. That's all I ask. Just pay attention to your kids. And you don't have to literally be staring at them every second of the minute you're in, every second of the time you're in.
Are.
Just pay attention to them. Know what's going on. That's it. All I ask.
And we get it that it takes a village, but that village is not in the brewery.
Not at all. That's number 3. Number 2, too many IPAs. Too many IPAs. Now, you can have a lot of IPAs. I don't look. We brew a lot of IPAs. All right.
You're getting to the point where you're almost an IPA house. So, but we'll.
No. It's the summer.
It's the summer. I get it.
We're. But when I say too many,
out of business too.
When I say too many IPAs, I don't mean.
So, Lee, we have a saying on the show: IPAs keep the lights on.
Right. I don't mean like too many. I don't mean like 90 IPAs. And what I mean is too many IPAs and nothing else, or very little else.
Yeah.
In other words, like they have 12 IPAs on tap and 1 or 2 other beers. That's my point. That's a pet peeve. Right. So So there's that. And then my number one, and this hasn't been brought up at all. We haven't talked about it. Food at a brewery. And I'm not talking about a brew pub. And I'm not talking about food at a brewery that does it right. I'm talking about food at a brewery where they're trying too hard to be a restaurant, fuck the brewery kind of thing. Like they care more about the food than they do about the beer they're putting out. Like you walk in and you sit down at the bar or a table, and it's a service place, and all they're worried about is the food that's being put in and the kitchen coming out and the bussing the tables and everything else. And the beer is secondary or a third tertiary to the food. That's
They tricked you by getting you in the doors by saying they're a brewery,
right?
When they're just a restaurant,
right?
100%.
100%.
Oh, bait and switch,
right. And believe me, there's some amazing brew pubs out there, and there's some amazing breweries out there that have food. I'm talking about the ones that, like you're saying, Lee, the bait and switch ones.
But then, if we're talking about food at brewery, one of the best things I put in my face that was food in Pittsburgh was at Strange Roots.
Okay.
Right. I had what basically amounts to a loose meat cheeseburger at Strange Roots. It had some.
Was it a cheeseburger, cheesesteak kind of thing?
Yeah.
It's a beef and cheese. That apparently they're popular in New York City.
Yeah. That's why I asked. Yeah.
Steak and cheese, you use ground beef.
Instead of chopped steak, you use chopped meat.
Beef. It's called a chopped beef. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it was called the chopped beef, and there's like this pepper jelly in it.
That's with Pittsburgh Sandwich Society, by the way.
Pittsburgh Sandwich Society. It makes, oh my God, the sandwiches they put out there. So if you get to Strange Roots, go hungry. Order the food there.
They do smash burgers and wings. Mike's from Buffalo. He makes fantastic wings. I know you probably didn't get to taste all the food, but
no,
fantastic burgers and wings and everything. So
if we come back, we're coming hungry again and having lunch again there. This is a place.
Well, we'll be there in the end of October. You got to go.
You got to tell me.
It's been settled.
You got to tell me when it's time to buy the tickets.
The last Monday in October. I can get them now if you want. I don't care.
Yes, get the damn tickets. Get 4. I'll give you the money for the other 2.
Done.
But I'll plan the beer stuff.
Oh yeah. So we got to go, but we got to get Strange Roots. We got to go there hungry. Get the food there, and the thing about that is what you're saying, Johnny. Strange Roots is the brewery first.
Right.
They've got a sandwich shop there.
Right. If you're having food, brewery first, food second. Not open a brewery and call yourself a brewery and then do food first and we got some beer.
But we don't want to say that the beer supersedes the food. It is a brewery first, so it should. Mm-hmm. However, there's many breweries that Johnny and I love where the food 100%. Is fantastic.
Fantastic.
Right. And that Strange Roots is one of them. Right. We know another place in Philadelphia where the sandwiches are amazing, and so is the beer.
Human Robot, and the Pose sandwiches. Lee, if you haven't been, get there. Let Dave and I know when you're going. We'll meet
you there. Yeah, the sandwiches are absolutely amazing. The beer is fantastic. They're one of the best lager houses in the Northeast. Mm-hmm. I can't say that. The best lager house in the Northeast is Schilling.
I would put them. I was going through my top. I was going through my top 5 before. That rounds out my top 5.
They're in the top 5. They're in the top 5. They're fantastic.
So we can start before noon when I get there.
They open at 11. So yes,
they open at 11. So absolutely we can. You're damn straight. You're right. And then we can beer tour Fishtown, and then hit Brewery Town.
Yeah, there's a section of Philly called Brewery Town.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. And the thing is, it's not because there's a lot of breweries there now. There are.
It's because there were a lot of breweries.
Because when there was a time where there was probably like 35 breweries there.
More than that, even probably closer to 50. Yeah.
Yeah, probably closer to 50. There's probably about 15 now. Yeah. And Crime and Punishment might be the best of them.
Crime and Punishment is the best of them in Brewery Town. Yeah.
So you come to Philly,
and is Earth Bread and Beer still open?
I don't know,
because that's fantastic. Yeah, Tom Baker.
Okay. So
hold on, was that heavyweight?
Heavyweight, Right.
Yes.
Yeah, Percuno's Hammer. That was my favorite beer
That's fantastic.
back in the day.
My favorite.
I still have a heavyweight T-shirt.
That was fantastic. Percuno's Hammer. My favorite heavyweight was, and I know Dave's going to be shocked to hear this.
Oh,
My favorite heavyweight
was
was
a stick of alt.
Stick and Jab. Yeah, it was a Stick and
Jab.
Jab.
And I know that because
Yeah.
Stick and Jab.
What's that?
Was that an alt beer?
It was a Stick all. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
This is probably the 8th time John has mentioned that beer on the show.
At least in this year.
Well, I'm glad I got to throw a plug in for Percuno's Hammer. When that brewery closed was a sad day.
It was.
But,
and they were in Ocean, New Jersey, and there's only one brewery in Ocean, New Jersey right now, and that's Kane. So
okay, yeah.
What a lot of people consider the best brewery in New Jersey, I'd put a lot of caveats on that and argue it a little bit. But
I have beers.
It's definitely one of the most successful breweries in craft breweries in the state.
They do deserve their accolades. I will give them that. Absolutely give them that. Lee, a reply back from Bob. Come down to halfway there in August, or Badass Beer Fest in November.
Nice.
And Dave, you need to text him. Come up to New Jersey September 7th, Saturday, September 7th.
Be up in New Jersey to do a beer tour up there. That would be a fantastic thing to text.
Gotta pull him up here. But the thing is, he lived here, so he knows about New Jersey. He may never ever come back.
He just won't drink the water, but everything else.
But the thing is,
he'll drink the water with hops and barley and yeast in it.
But I can probably lure him up here with a pork roll of egg and cheese.
There you go.
I've got to come there for the food.
Oh, that's the stuff between the bagels, the pizza, the pork roll.
Yeah, you got to do that.
Or if you're in Northern Jersey, they call it Taylor ham. New Jersey is one of those places we will shank each other over breakfast meat. We call it. It's a thing. We're proud of that, actually, somehow, because Jersey.
Because Jersey.
Jersey. We're just Jersey.
All right.
So
right.
gotta get him up here.
All right. Okay.
Or we get him to meet us at Human Robot.
That might not be a bad idea either.
That sounds doable.
Yeah.
We can do that. So, all right. Lee, stay on. Well, actually, before we go, parting shots. Anything else you want to say about Strange Roots? Get it out there to people.
No, just come by, and I work on Saturday afternoons. If you're ever in Pittsburgh, please come by and say hello to me at the brewery. I'd love to chat with you about beer, and just wanted to again say thank you to you guys. Listening to your website and or listening to your podcast and looking at your website and getting to know you guys a little bit has been a lot of fun, and appreciate you guys having me on. And I can't wait to hang out with you when you come to Pittsburgh for the Giants game, and definitely looking for you guys to be my point people when I come to Jersey and,
100%.
Hit all the
hell yeah.
So
100%.
Thanks. Yeah.
You got it. Absolutely. And anybody listening that wants to hang out, that's going to be anywhere near Pittsburgh later in October, on Saturday, October 26th. Lee's going to be working, and we're going to be going. So we'll be out there.
We'll do a bottle share at a tailgate, and I'll bring on the Pittsburgh beers. So if anybody's there, just show up.
Exactly.
And
the game is Monday night the 28th, but Saturday the 26th, Lee will be working. So you can show up at the brewery on Saturday the 26th or the tailgate on Monday the 28th. So there you go.
And Lee,
I'll be at both.
If you can find a way to get us a heat source, a griddle or something, we'll bring a tube.
I'll tell you what. You text me. I'll bring anything.
We'll bring pork roll. I'll bring some. I'll bring some Thuman's dogs too, if you want.
I have an amazing tailgate set up, so maybe we could do a hot dog competition, and I'll bring Pittsburgh's finest.
There you go.
Oh, wait a second. A pork roll hot dog.
Oh, wow.
Pork roll, egg and cheese hot dog.
Oh, wow.
It's going to be Monday night. I think we might need to leave the egg out and just do the pork roll, cheese, and hot dog.
It's a night thing, but yeah.
I'm going out for some late night pierogies now, boys.
Done. All right.
But that's the whole thing. That's the thing about Pittsburgh.
It's another thing. That was one of your ideas for the top three, too.
Was accompanied with because pierogies are such a Pittsburgh it's so ingrained into the Pittsburgh mentality.
But
and
they're here
the
too.
soul.
I mean, they're not as much as Pittsburgh, but they're
But no,
here
but
too.
but in Pittsburgh, it is just such a huge thing in Pittsburgh. It really surprised me. I know there was
It's on
so-
every menu. Yeah.
every friggin' menu, and I know there was a lot of. I'm Polish, so I can say Polacks. There was a lot of Polacks in the area. You've got so many of the Slavic people there that pierogies became so ingrained in the culture in Pittsburgh, even that to this day it is, like you said, every single menu, but it is offered as a side dish as prevalently as French fries.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a comfort food, the babushkas, the old ladies, they love it.
Babushkas.
Well, Dave, seriously, you're not even talking about Pittsburgh. You talk about Jersey, Stewart's.
Well, they have pierogies, yes.
Yeah, but Stewart's. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, my experience at Stewart's, pierogies sold as much as, if not more, even.
You mean these people?
Those people, as that's why I brought it up, as French fries. So.
Well, Stewart's, for those who are not in the know from like the Jersey area, Stewart's, and they're expanded out of that as well. But Jersey was kind of the heart of it. They were not just root beer. This was a hot dog, hamburger, fries, pierogies.
It was. If you have any clue, and if you're younger, you don't. But if you have any idea with what Happy Days was, and it's the best way I can describe this without.
Yeah. Well, because it was a drive-in where they would come
drive-in where they actually came out to your car. You pulled up. You didn't have to get out of your car. They came out to your car, took your order, went in. Then they came out with a tray. You rolled your window up a little bit. They put the tray on your window, and you ate in the car. That's what Stewart's was.
Yeah, and pierogies was on the menu because there's a big Polish population here. I'm Polish, and I love the fact that I can get home-smoked kielbasa and house-made pierogies. And Cabanossi. I fucking love Cabanossi.
Cabanossi.
But anyway.
Palushka, we can just go down the list of delicious Polish foods.
Oh, the pickle soup, the white borscht. Oh God, I love white borscht. But yeah, we could spend a whole friggin' show on Polish food.
What was the one with the farmer cheese and the onion and the what was that?
Say again.
I'll think of it. Keep going.
Well, because the Polish food actually has their own. It's called. I lost a word. I just lost a vocabulary word here. That's the. It's the. No, it's not the. Pate. The pate.
Pate. Right.
The pate. So Polish pate. So do not ever confuse Polish pate with French pate.
Totally different.
French pate is very, very delicate in flavor, in preparation, and mouthfeel. Polish pate is going to smack you in the face, give you a black eye, and leave you for dead. They're two, whereas they're very similar in their preparation and their ingredients. The overall ending effect is entirely different.
Gotcha. All right.
Just saying.
All right.
So on the Polish pate note, and the final parting note, I did think of one thing I wanted to mention was this weekend I'm going to the Barrel and Flow Festival.
Barrel and Flow is Dave Bracey's great. Dave Bracey's great.
So I should have mentioned him way earlier, but he does a fantastic job.
Dave does a great job.
Looking forward to the festival, and there's so
what are the dates on that, Lee?
It's this weekend, the 10th, I believe. Yeah, the 9th, 10th, 11th.
10th and 11th, yeah.
On the 9th, during the day, they do a lot of classes, just like CBC. They do a lot of networking things to help brewers and prospective owners and things like, network and whatnot. And then Friday night is the bottle share. Saturday is the festival, and Sunday they like DJ stuff and brunches and all that. But really looking forward to trying some of the collaborations this year. There's so many cool up and coming black owned breweries. It's something that I'm like super proud that Pittsburgh has embraced, and that Dave has really done a great job.
Dave does an amazing job with this.
but like the Atlanta breweries, I'm looking forward to Conzo Brewing, and Our Culture is doing a collaboration this year with Creature Comforts,
Oh wow.
Georgia, and then off the Wall Brewing from Georgia. I'm looking forward to trying their stuff, but also
Y'all
Vine
did the
Street.
great stuff.
Yeah, Vine Street is from Kansas City. I worked with him, Kemet, at Boulevard, so really looking forward to seeing him and trying all of his stuff, and Smittix and Brockton and all of the great breweries. I'm really looking forward to trying their collabs this year, and just want to give all those guys a shout out and let them know that I'm looking forward to seeing them this weekend.
Yeah, so if you can't make it this weekend, put it on your calendar for next year. Tag it so that you get the news for it. So when it comes around again,
second weekend in August each year. Dave does an amazing job with that Barrel and Flow Fest out there. We got a couple of years ago, I was talking with Dave. We are going to get him on the show, and then I kind of fell by the wayside. We never did. So let him get through next weekend, and then we'll get him on in the fall. We'll talk about it.
We got to bring this up.
Yeah,
I want to get out there. When I was in Pittsburgh, it was at least 3 people. Lee, I think Lee was one of them. Mentioned this festival to me. That you got actually one of my Uber drivers talked about this festival and said, when you come back to Pittsburgh, make sure you time it with that festival. And she told us it started off as a Black-owned brewery festival, but they did understand they needed to bring other people in because at the time there weren't enough to really sustain the festival.
Right.
But now it's grown so much more. There's so much more.
There's a lot of collabs going on too, like Lee was talking about. There's a lot of collabs happening like that. So it's
over 30. Yeah, over 30 collabs.
Yeah.
Everyone is.
We actually got a couple.
Yeah, with its artist.
Well, it's an art festival too, right? There's artists involved.
Oh yeah, yes. That's the problem is with the way that I travel through the year each year. August becomes problematic because it ties in with Carrie's birthday, and that's where we travel typically. But maybe one year I can convince her to traveling back to Pittsburgh and doing this. Because there's so many things that I think we missed while we were there. And like I said, I was so disappointed in Trace and Grist House, but I know it was just the timing.
It's the timing.
I didn't know
100% of the timing. Yeah, you do not need to be disappointed in them. It was the timing.
I'm disappointed in the
and you will, and you will. Yeah, you'll be out there. You'll be out there in October. So there you go.
And hopefully, in October there should be. And what's the date in October, John?
26th, 27th, 28th.
Okay, so it's not going to be the first Wednesday in October. So we're not going to have a new beer being launched at Hawkbrow.
No.
And the whole.
But it may still be there.
No. I'm talking about the first Wednesday.
With the cask, and I know,
where they have the whole rigmarole, and it's just a blast to be there to do that. And I just happened to be a dumbass who managed to happen into it when we were there, and just got to see the whole procession and have a great time.
And on that note, too, with the Blackbirds, with the Dave Bracey with the Barrel and Flow Fest, we had a couple years ago. We had on Anthony Jennings from. He runs the Black Brewers podcast, out of Minneapolis, and he's one of the taproom guys for. I'm trying to think of the name of the brewery. It starts with an A, and Abjuration just keeps coming out of my mouth, and that's in Pittsburgh.
That's not right. Yeah,
that's in Pittsburgh, but. It's I will tell you in 2 hot seconds.
1, 2.
All right, shut up.
Hot. that was 2 hot seconds. Johnny has always had a very loose relationship with the space-time continuum.
No, that's not what it is. Hang on 1 second. Well, 2 hot seconds. People know what.
Okay, so Lee, while he's doing that, tell us about your shirt. I'm seeing lager.
Talk about your shirt. We'll wrap it up in a couple of seconds. So there you go.
This is Halfway Crooks Brewery from Atlanta,
Okay.
and they make some fantastic beers. But I don't know that they intended to do this, but they started making a lot of lager shirts and hats and things like this. And I'll bet you they sell more merch than they do beer because these shirts are so freaking popular. This is one of the first ones they ever did. It's just a lager shower brewery. But just if you're ever in Atlanta, it is one of the
Say
best.
the brewery's name again.
Halfway Crooks.
Halfway
And
Crooks.
they are celebrating their 5-year anniversary, probably I think this week actually.
Really?
Just a fantastic brewery. Makes a bunch of mixed culture beers, a lot of pilsners and lagers, and they make really a lot like Golden Age. You know what I mean?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
Nice.
nice.
Fantastic old man beers.
Okay, so we won't tell anybody, and we always operate under the auspice that no one watches or listens.
Right.
Even though there's people watching and listening right now, but that's because
Sure, that's fine. But no one is. As far as this question goes,
Yep.
for you, Lee, preference: Atlanta beer scene, Pittsburgh beer scene.
I mean, for me, Atlanta, because I was immersed in it, to be fair, and I'm older now, and I'm not chasing beer, and I'm not so into the culture like I was. But when it came to Atlanta, like I lived in Decatur, Georgia, for 15 years, which
That's a good place to live if you're there. Yeah.
it's like beer mecca. I saw the beginning of. I hung out at a brew pub called Twain's that they've been around since the 90s. Saw 3 taverns and Wild Heaven and now Little Cottage. A lot of great breweries in that little area. And like I said earlier, I moved there at a time when beer culture was really changing, and I was able to be a part of that, which I'm so lucky to have lived there at the right time. And so for nostalgic reasons, I would say there.
That's special.
But-
Yeah.
yeah, 100%.
For now, I love trying to find my way around new breweries and meeting younger people and people that are really getting into beer and stuff. That's fun too. So sort of like if nobody knows who you are when you go to a brewery or a bar, you have more fun than if people are like, "Oh, that's the guy from the podcast. Let's roll out the red carpet for him." It's kind of like my experience here in Pittsburgh is like I don't have to worry about I can just go to breweries and enjoy them for what they are. I don't have
100%.
John
necessarily a part of the community, but
John knows full well that there was a time on Facebook and in the New Jersey beer community where the Beer Samurai was actually a thing, and the Beer Samurai was better liked than people liked me.
right. And you probably hated that at times, right?
And I hated it. But John also knows that I always traveled. No one knew that the Beer Samurai was there. They knew Dave was there.
Sure.
And so I fully get that where you don't want to walk into a place. People know who you are because they'll treat you different, and you're not getting.
I want the experience that everybody gets.
Yeah, exactly. And you want to know who they are. You don't want to know who they are reacting to someone who might have some notoriety.
Mm-hmm.
And so I fully understand what you're saying there, Lee, because I got that. There was a point I got to that, and it embarrassed me, actually.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. And for a while there, I actually killed the Beer Samurai persona. The Beer Samurai persona was actually resurrected during COVID in Rhode Island.
There you go.
Only because I felt it was needed there. And now I embrace it a little bit more, but I still don't want anything from it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyway, Brian Brogue just said, "I am." I'm not sure what he meant. I am too. Like when we said we're older, maybe he means I am. And he said when I said, "Is he still on?" He said, "I am."
Well,
Um,
I don't know, but that was you said
but I
that
said
about an
I
hour
like
ago.
when no, he said it. No, he said it 2 minutes ago. So
Yeah, but you said, "Are you still on?"
I am
about an hour
listening. He's
ago.
still listening. I know he's
Okay.
still listening. There you go.
Okay.
But I said it an hour ago, and he just answered there. So, Brian, love you.
Little Dave reaction.
I'm kidding. Anyway, all right. One other thing is Arbeiter Brewing. Arbeiter Brewing in
Arbeiter,
Minneapolis.
yes.
Arbeiter Brewing in Minneapolis. Anthony Jennings was on, and he does the
From
Black Brewers podcast.
Brewers
And I sent him to hook up with Dave Bracey like 2 years ago. So I'm pretty sure he did. But so if you're there, Lee, if you're over there with Day this weekend or whatever, see if the Black Brewers podcast is around, and if Anthony Jennings is there,
I'll say hello for you. No doubt.
No, you said it when I
write
typed that.
name down now.
Anthony
I
Jennings, yeah.
still don't know what Brian's talking about, but okay.
He said, "No, you said it when I typed that," which is weird, Brian. It actually came. It
might have been
literally
delayed.
just popped up. I don't know how it was delayed, but it literally popped up.
It was delayed almost an hour.
Like a while ago. But
Well, tell him I'm 6'8". Tell him I'm 6'8", and I got dreadlocks down to my waist. So
I can attest to this.
tell him to find me.
I'll tell him to find you. There you go.
Yeah, you're pretty easy to spot.
There you go. Anyway, all right. Anthony is his name, and he will be looking for you this weekend. Arbeiter Brewing.
Anthony.
I will make sure that he knows to look for you. There you go. All right. Anything else?
Are you heading to anything else, Lee?
Anything else, Lee?
No. Thanks a lot for having me, guys. I really appreciate it. I enjoyed talking to you, and look forward to seeing you guys this fall.
Definitely.
Great.
We will
And
definitely make that happen.
I've enjoyed talking to you as much on the show as I did while I was at the brewery.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
100%. All right. Lee, don't go any.
You're
What?
going into the outro?
Go to the outro. Lee, don't go anywhere.
I'm going to pee while you do the outro.
You do that. Lee, we'll talk for a couple seconds after I finish the show. But on that note, we will wrap up the show for today. We want to thank everybody for watching. And for those of you just listening to the audio podcast, thank you for listening. Don't forget to visit our website, www.lageroom.com. That's LAGEROOM.com. And please remember, like us and follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course our YouTube channel. All of them are at The Lager Room. Remember, we go live with the video podcast on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, which is now X, and Twitch every Tuesday night around 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. And for those of you, technical issues and severe thunderstorms aside, and for those of you just wanting to listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on our audio host, Spreaker, as well as iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Odyssey, Audible, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music Podcast, TuneIn, Podcast Addict, Castbox, Deezer, Podchaser, Listen Notes. There we go. Pretty much anywhere you can find an audio podcast, you will find the Lager Room Guys Craft Beer Podcast. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to one or more of those feeds, and you will never miss a show. Again, thanks for following along with us. Have a great rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend. Drink a lot of beer, but drink responsibly. And we will talk to you next week, folks. Actually, we'll not talk to you next week. I take that back. Next week's our vacation week. We are off next week. No show next week. We will talk to you in 2 weeks, folks, for our St. Bernardus Day show. First St. Bernardus Day show, because St. Bernardus Day is not on a specific day of the week. It's a specific date. So it's the first in 4 years. It's the first day we're doing a St. Bernardus show. So our next show is 2 weeks from tonight, and it is our St. Bernardus show. So we will talk to you then, folks. Again, have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you in a couple weeks, folks. Take care. You muted yourself.
I muted myself so that you couldn't hear me peeing in the next room. And for the St. Bernardus show, there will be a surprise because I will be at a brewery in Vancouver.
There you go. So everybody gets to be jealous of Dave being at a Vancouver brewery. That's basically what he's telling.
Just being in Vancouver, and
yeah.
I'm going to see if I can't get Ryan Reynolds to join me. No, Ryan Reynolds is not going to join me on the show.
He's not going to join on the
That'd
show.
be really cool, though, wouldn't it?
That would be cool. Maybe he's there, and you can work it out.
Who knows? But
right.
yeah. So you mentioned next week is a vacation for us.
I already did that. I was saying.
No, I just said that. I heard you say that. It'll be because it's also Carrie's birthday, so I can't do the show on her birthday. She'd kill me. We'll be in Seattle for that day, so that'll be a lot of fun.
All right, folks. Have a great rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend. Drink a lot of beer, but drink responsibly, and we'll talk to you in a couple weeks, folks. Take care. Cheers.
Cheers.